High A Central Baseball is back on the River Bandits Baseball Network as Quad Cities is one victory away from securing themselves a spot in the 2021 postseason. Lots of exciting action here in Davenport tonight as Christian Cosby takes the hill and completes his warm-up tosses to Cale Emshoff. Cale, one of the newest members of the River Bandits after getting called up from Low A Columbia, where he started the year. More on him a little bit later. But for the River Bandits, they've had some issues against the Peoria Chiefs this season, although Quad Cities is 31 games above them in the standings. They are 11-7 against Peoria this year. In fact, Quad Cities has two separate three-game losing streaks against the Chiefs. Those those two three-game losing streaks, there we go, are actually the two longest losing streaks the Bandits have had throughout the entirety of the 2021 season. So, although the Chiefs have struggled, the Bandits have struggled against them. So we'll see what kind of Bandits we get here in Game 1, as temperatures are in the mid to upper 80s here in downtown Davenport. I mentioned a breeze earlier in the broadcast that has been blowing consistently throughout today. It is blowing out to left field, so something to keep an eye on, especially if you're a right-handed hitter. Not a cloud in the sky, however, and it is a beautiful evening as those long shadows begin to make their way over the playing surface. And Mason Wynn, the shortstop, steps into the right-handed batter's box as we're just about to get underway here with Game 1 of this 6-game series. And for the Bandits, Game 1 of a 13-game homestand, which will conclude the regular season. So the right-hander Christian Cosby is ready to go. He will work out of the hybrid, kick and fire, and the first pitch is a called strike, a fastball at the knees, 0-1 for Mason Wynn. Cosby this season is 4-3 with a 4.52 ERA in 61 2/3 innings pitched. 0-1 pitch to Wynn, waved at and missed, and it's quickly 0-2. Wynn is the number 4 prospect in the St. Louis Cardinals system, according to MLB Pipeline. Of course, the Chiefs, the High A affiliate of that NL Central squad. 0-2 pitch to Wynn is outside, now 1-2. Mason was the second-round pick by the Cardinals back in the 2020 draft out of Houston, Texas. 1-2, off speed, low and away. Wynn holds off, and the count moves to 2-2. Wynn is playing in his 30th game with Peoria this season, an average of just 195 for him, and an OPS of 524. 2-2 from Cosby, sent high and rather deep to right field, but Parker Bates has space, and he'll make the catch about 10 feet in front of the warning track for out number 1. Let's set the rest of that Bandits defense for you, starting over in left field where Eric Cole is stationed. John Rave plays center, and then the aforementioned Bates in right. On the infield from third to first, it's Eaton, Garcia, Massey, and Means, with Cale Emshoff behind the plate. He is the 4th River Bandits player to start at the catcher position this season. Right-hander against right-hander again as Jordan Walker steps to the batter's box. The Chiefs' third baseman swings at the first pitch and shoots it foul over the right side for strike 1. Walker, who we got a chance to see back the last time Peoria was here at Modern Woodmen Park. That was all the way back in the 3rd week of July when he was getting his first taste of High A Central ball, playing in his 46th game with the Chiefs this year after being selected in the first round of the 2020 draft. 0-1 to him was fouled back to the screen. Now 2 strikes on Walker. So with Wynn and Walker, you've got a second round and a first round pick back-to-back on the lineup card. Next pitch from Cosby. Breaking ball, low and away. Look more like an off-speed pitch. Probably that splitter from Cosby, which he features. Fastball hanging in the low to mid-90s. The splitter in the mid-80s. Walker with a tall stance. He holds the bat still next to his right ear. Next pitch from Cosby, lined towards the party plaza. Out of play, foul. And the count still 1-2. Walker is batting .290 this season with the Chiefs. An OPS of .765. He's got 3 homers and 13 driven in. Straight up defensive alignment for Quad Cities. As Cosby peers over the glove, now he has the sign. 1-2 pitch, fouled off the handles and against the screen. And the count remains 1-2. As I mentioned, Cosby was just named the High A Central Player of the Week for August 30th to September 5th after a career-high 6-inning shutout against Cedar Rapids last week. 1-2 pitch, hangs high and inside to Walker, the count to 2-2. Allowed just 2 hits in that contest against Cedar Rapids back on the 1st of September. No walks, 6 strikeouts. 2-2 pitch, swung on and missed. Walker chases low and inside, and Cosby picks up his 69th strikeout of the season, and it's out number 2 here in the top of the 1st inning. So a fly ball and a strikeout. Get a couple of top draft picks to begin this one. And now John Torres, the right-handed hitting right fielder, comes to the plate, the number 20 prospect in the Cardinal system. First pitch from Cosby, grounded foul off the tarp on the right side for strike 1. Torres was acquired by St. Louis via a trade with the Cleveland Indians, originally a native of Colombia. 0-1, off speed, low and in, bounced off the dirt, and it's 1-1. Quad Cities has been fantastic defensively this season. They've turned the 2nd most double plays in the league, and they're tied for the least amount of errors committed in the league. 1-1 pitch to Torres, inside, it's 2-1. Cosby, one of those guys that'll utilize his defense. Strikeout numbers, just a little over 1 per inning, but he's been known to work those twin killings with the best of them. 2-1, fastball just off the outside corner, and it's 3-1. The home plate umpire this evening is A.J. Chalk. This is his 5th year wearing blue. Mitch Treziak is on the bases. This is his 4th. 3-1 from Cosby. Line towards center field. John Rave back a couple of steps, reaches up to his left, and makes the catch for out number 3. Torres put a charge in that one, but didn't get under it enough. Rave's able to make the catch in center field, and despite the hard contact, Cosby goes 1-2-3 in the top of the 1st. No score early here at Modern Woodmen Park. The Bandits will come to the plate when we return here on the River Bandits Baseball Network. A 1-2-3 top of the 1st inning tossed by Christian Cosby brings us to the bottom half of a scoreless ball game. Quad Cities will have Garcia, Lofton, and Massey due up first against the 23-year-old left-hander Mac Lardner. Lardner stands at 6'4", 195 pounds, and is a native of Templeton, California. A couple of California kids starting tonight with Cosby from Placentia, California, and Lardner from Templeton. Mac this season has struggled, 0-5 with a 6.49 ERA. He has spent some time on the IL, he has spent some time as a reliever, and most recently has settled into a starting role. 51 in the 3rd innings pitched for him on the campaign. He's got 61 strikeouts, but opponents are hitting .281 against him. He's given up 59 hits in 51-plus innings. Just 17 walks, however. So the first task for him tonight will be Garcia, who steps into the right-handed batter's box and takes a first pitch high and outside for ball 1. Garcia is riding a 4-game hitting streak and has been an excellent threat at the top of the River Bandits order. 0-1 swung on, fouled over the press box, and it's quickly 0-2. Garcia batting an even 270 this season, a 710 OPS, but for him it's mostly about creating runs with his legs. 0-2, grounded up the middle. This one towards the shortstop Win. He plays it on a couple of big hops and fires across to first for out number 1. So a rather quick out from Lardner, who is facing the River Bandits for the 4th time this season. And now he'll pitch to the designated hitter, Nick Lofton, who is serving in that capacity for the 9th time this year. Primarily, you'll find Nick in the middle infield, at shortstop or second base, but he has spent some time in the hot corner. First pitch to him is high and outside for ball 1. Lofton owns a modest 3-game hitting streak, but what's not modest is his 16-game on-base streak. As he swings at a 1-0 pitch, it's grounded to the left side. Diving stop at third by Walker. The throw to first is late and errant. It's off the tarp. Lofton will advance to second base as Torres has to gather it from right field. And it's going to go down as a single for Lofton. And for Walker, he was probably best just to hold on to that one, since Lofton had already reached easily by the time he got the ball out of his glove and made the throw. So it's going to go down as a single and then an advancement on the error. That is the 118th error for Peoria this season. They are now in sole possession of second place for the most errors in the High A Central. And for Walker, he records his team-leading 14th miscue. So a man in scoring position now for Michael Massey, who takes a first pitch at the knees for strike 1. Massey's been out of the lineup since September 2nd, but now back in there, batting in his usual 3 spot. He has 24 RBI driven in his last 24 games. 0-1 pitch from Lardner is a breaking ball, low and outside. Good stop from Pedro Pajes, who is doing the catching for the Chiefs tonight. Over in left field, Peoria has Matt Chamberlain, Reichenborn in center, and Torres in right. On the infield, it's Walker at third, Wynn at short, Bushberger at second, and Francisco at first. Lofton, a short lead over at second, as the 1-1 to Massey is popped towards the left side. This one heading towards the bleachers, and it bounces in the second row out of the reach of Jordan Walker, who is ranging over from third. Massey, far and away the MVP candidate for the Quad Cities River Bandits. Definitely someone whose name is going to be in that conversation at the end of the year. 287 hitter, he's got 20 homers and 81 driven in. He's also put together some rather historic numbers this year. Those we'll dive into probably a little bit later in this ball game. 1-2 breaking ball, bounces away from Pajes. He's able to keep it in front, however, and Lofton has to hold up at second. Now 2 balls and 2 strikes to Massey. Every season, Baseball America likes to ask minor league managers to choose the players in their league with the most impressive scouting tools. They call it their annual Best Tools Award, if you will. And High A Central managers voted Michael Massey as the best defensive second baseman. Definitely no surprise there. 2-2, tipped off of Pajes behind home. And now he's writhing in some pain behind the dish. And A.J. Chalk will take a moment to step out in front of the plate, toss Mac Lardner a new ball, and now let Pajes walk it off. Massey, definitely known for his glove coming out of Illinois, but he's definitely been a fantastic offensive name throughout the league this year, not only for the River Bandits, but just in minor league baseball as a whole. Lofton still at second base. No score here in the bottom of the first. Bandits and Chiefs in game 1 of their 6-game series. Ready to go once more. And the 2-2 from Lardner misses low and inside. And the count now full to Massey. Michael has 60 strikeouts to 32 walks this year. He is always one to put together a good AB. Left on left matchup here as Lardner works out of the stretch. The 3-2 pitch driven towards deep center field. Reichenborn back. He's at the track. He looks up and it's gone. 2-run homer for Michael Massey. It's round tripper number 21 for the Bandits second baseman. And Quad Cities jumps in front by a pair here in the bottom of the first. Well, another day, another RBI for Michael Massey. He'll slap hands on his way into the dugout, giving the Bandits the 2-0 lead with one gone. That pitch to pretty much dead center field. It was just a bit to the right of the batter's eye. That ball hit well over 400 feet as the first pitch to Nathan Eaton is high for ball one. Left on left, too. That's impressive. Lardner working quickly now as he fires the second pitch of the at-bat to Eaton, and Nathan shoots it over the right side for 1 ball and 1 strike. Eaton's getting the start in the cleanup spot tonight and over at third base. Pretty much the everyday third baseman for Quad Cities when he's been healthy. However, he's hitting in the cleanup spot for just the 4th time this year. 1-2 pitch, just a bit outside from Lardner, and the count to 2-2. Eaton owns a little mini 3-game hitting streak, like so many in this lineup. 2-2 swing and a miss, good breaking ball. And that streak will not be extended here in the first inning as Lardner picks up his first strikeout. So good response from him. He gives up the 2-run homer to Michael Massey. And now there's 2 away with nobody on for the center fielder, John Rave. Rave has had very much an up and down season as the first pitch to him is a called strike on the outside corner. When he's hot, he has been one of the best hitters in the league, and when he's been cold, he has really struggled. 0-1. Another fastball on that outside corner. John doesn't really like the call, but it's 0-2. Rave is actually riding an interesting streak right now. He has 17 consecutive games in which he's recorded a strikeout. 0-2, swing and a miss. This one gets away from Pajes. He gathers, tosses to first, and Rave is down on strikes for out number 3 in the bottom of the first. So it's 18 consecutive games with a K for him. And after allowing the 2-run homer to Michael Massey, Mac Lardner responds with a pair of strikeouts. Bandits on top early, though, as we head to the bottom of the second. Quad Cities 2, Peoria nothing. The 21st home run of the season for Michael Massey is the early difference in this one. 2-0 Quad Cities as we head to the second. And Christian Cosby will now stand on the hill with a bit of a cushion. He retired the Chiefs 1-2-3 in the top of the first, sandwiching a strikeout with a pair of fly balls. So now he'll face the 4, 5, and 6 hitters in Pedro Pajes, Jacob Buschberger, and Thomas Francisco. Pajes and Buschberger, both righties. The first lefty in the lineup for the Chiefs is Francisco, just 1 of 3 hitting from that side of the plate tonight. Cosby, a deep breath. He hoists the glove over by his head, gets the sign, and now the first pitch is a curveball outside to Pajes for ball 1. The Bandits are 25-10 this season when hitting a home run. Of course, more often than not, they're hitting home runs in ball games. 1-0 to Pedro, hammered down the right side, but foul, and it's 1-1. The offensive numbers for Quad Cities have been excellent around the board, as we have documented throughout this year. Deep breath from Cosby as the 1-1 pitch is high and inside, 2-1. Quad Cities now has 132 home runs this year. Scratch that, 134 They need just 5 more homers in their final 13 games to match the franchise best 139 set in 2017 by the Bandits. So a chance for them to set a new single-season team high. Count now 2-2 to Pedro Paez, who watches that one go outside. Pedro, always known to put together a solid AB. 2-2. Just a bit inside with the fastball, and the count goes full. The Bandits are also on pace to set a new franchise high in team slugging percentage. They were at .444 entering tonight's ball game. The current best, .419, set by the Midwest League champs back in 2017. 3-2 pitch to Paez. Popped in foul ground over to the right side. Parker Bates ranges over into the opposing bullpen and will make the catch just in front of the wall for the first out. Good work there from Bates, who of course is not super familiar with this ballpark. This is the first game he has played here in Quad Cities, but he looked like a veteran navigating in the right field corner. And he helps Cosby record the first out here in the top of the second inning. So here comes the second baseman, Jacob Buschberger, who is playing in just his 11th game with the Peoria Chiefs this year. First pitch from Cosby. Breaking ball well outside, and it's 1-0. Buschberger, an undrafted free agent signee by the St. Louis Cardinals back in June of 2020. A native of Montague, Michigan. 1-0 pitch. Slider sent foul over to the right side, and the count evens at 1. In Buschberger's first 10 games, he is 8 for 39. He's got a couple of doubles, a triple, no homers though. 3 strikeouts to 2 walks. 1-1, breaking ball, called strike. Good pitch there from Cosby, and it's now 1-2. The breeze still blowing out to left field here at Modern Woodmen Park, but not nearly as viciously as it was earlier. Howling winds in the early afternoon today here in Davenport. 1-2, slider, appeal down, and it's strike 3 according to Mitch Treziak, who says that Buschberger went around. Couldn't check his swing, and for Cosby, it's his second strikeout of the ball game. And it's now 5 straight Chiefs set down to begin this one. A.J. Chalk decided he needed a little bit of help behind the plate. In my opinion, it's always best to appeal down to that first base umpire, especially against a right-handed hitter on those check swings. Much better angle. So here's Thomas Francisco. He's the newest member of this Chiefs squad. He swings at the first pitch and fouls it off the screen for strike 1. He's a native of Bristol, Tennessee, played his college ball at East Carolina, and was called up today from Low A Palm Beach. 0-1. Fastball, called strike on the outside corner, and it's 0-2. Cosby a chance to go 1-2-3 for the second inning tonight. Make it 6 up, 6 down. 0-2 pitch. Flown towards the left side, but foul. This one over the Champs Club. And the count holds at 0-2. 2-0 lead for the Quad Cities River Bandits. We're in the top of the second. Cosby looking for the final out in that frame. One more strike would do it. Right-handed pitcher against a left-handed batter. The next offering, another foul ball down the left side, this one of the line drive variety. And the count holds at 2 strikes. Cosby began the season in Low A Columbia. Got called up the early portion of the year, started in the bullpen, but after some injuries to members of the starting rotation, has found a spot in that rotation. 0-2 pitch again, this time outside. It ricochets out of Emshoff's glove, but no problem, there's nobody on. Cosby at Columbia Had a 2.45 ERA in 14 2/3 innings before being called up. Here comes another 2-strike pitch to Francisco. Fastball high, he lays off. And now the count 2-2. Quad Cities looking for the final out here in the top of the second. Cosby in a duel with Francisco. 2-2. Another foul ball over the left side, and the at-bat continues. This is going to be an 8-pitch at-bat with this next delivery. Bandits are playing pretty much straight up defensively. The third baseman, Eaton, though, may be shading a little bit more towards second than you'd usually see. It's a step onto the grass. Another 2-2 from Cosby. Fastball low and inside, and the count goes full. What an excellent at-bat from Thomas Francisco. Just called up from low A, and he looks like a 2-year veteran at this level. This will be the 9th pitch of the at-bat. 3-2. Line towards left field. Going back is Eric Cole. He's got room, and he makes the catch in front of the warning track for out number 3. So Francisco doesn't go down quietly, but Cosby ends up with the same line as he did in the first. 1 strikeout and a couple of flyouts to bookend the scoreless frame. Going to the bottom of the second here at Modern Woodmen Park. Quad Cities up 2-0 here on the River Bandits Baseball Network. Nothing doing for the Peoria Chiefs in the top of the second inning as Christian Cosby, the River Bandits starter, has gone 6 up, 6 down to begin his evening. The Bandits are looking to add on to a 2-0 lead here in the bottom half of the frame, and we'll have Jake Means, Eric Cole, and Cale Emshoff due up. First, it's Means, who's getting the start at first base tonight. Jake, his 20th appearance there. He's played 30 games at third base and is factored in as the DH occasionally. Middle infielder for Quad Cities, who on the year is batting .235 in 60 games at the high A level after being called up from low A Columbia earlier this year. Mac Lardner still doing the pitching for Peoria, and his first offering to Means goes high and outside for ball 1. The difference in this one, a 2-run blast from Michael Massey in the bottom of the first, as Means pops the 1-0 over the right side for a foul ball, and the count to 1-1. Well, if you're just tuning into a River Bandits game for the first time, thanks for doing so. First of all, welcome. That train horn, though, that's something we hear a lot here in downtown Davenport. 1-1. Good breaking ball. Called strike on the outside edge, and it's 1-2. The ballpark is situated truly as close to the train tracks as you can get without actually being on the tracks. 1-2 breaking ball to Means, just a bit outside, and it's 1-2. Means this season a .235 hitter, an OPS of .767, lifted primarily by the .429 slugging percentage. 2-strike pitch here, swing and a miss. Can't connect on a pitch perhaps a bit off the outside corner, and a good breaking ball retires Means for the first out here in the bottom of the second. So that's 3 consecutive strikeouts from Mac Lardner after the homer to Massey. And it will bring up Eric Cole. Cole, a guy who struggled a bit in the month of August, but has once again found his swing. As the first pitch to him is just a bit high and outside for ball 1. Cole slashed just 147, 253, 206 in August. But last week against Cedar Rapids, hit over 400 as he sends the 1-0 pitch back to the screen. 1 ball and 1 strike. He had a couple of doubles, 5 RBI, and did not strike out in his 17 at-bats against the Colonels. Enters the series with a 7-game hitting streak and a 7-game RBI streak. 1-1 pitch to Cole, low and inside, it's 2-1. And even during his struggles, Cole was still putting together solid at-bats. He is 6th in the High A Central in walks. He's got great plate discipline. As the 2-1 to him is low, it ricochets off of Pajes, and it's 3-1. 52 walks in now 93 games for Eric Cole. Those 93 games, the most played on this River Bandit squad. He's been with this Quad Cities team all summer. 3-1 pitch, soft liner. It's going to get down in center field for a base hit. So Cole remains hot. He's got an 8-game hitting streak now and puts a man on with 1 out for Cale Emschoff, who makes his Bandits debut here at Modern Woodmen Park. This is the 3rd game overall for Emschoff, the River Bandits catcher, who started the year with low A Columbia, slashing .273, .380, .505, and in just under 200 at-bats, had 10 homers and 43 driven in. A right-handed hitter facing the lefty Lardner. First pitch breaking ball bounces away from Pedro Pajes. It was low and in, and it's ball 1. Cole over at first base has 8 stolen bags in 11 tries this year. The Bandits do not steal at a high quantity, but they have been the most efficient team in the High A Central in that category. As Lardner picks over to first and Cole is back standing. Just 104 steals for the Bandits, which ranks 9th in the 12-team league, but they are first in stolen base percentage at .852. 1-0 pitch to Emschoff, swung on and missed. It's now 1-1. Cale played his college ball at the University of Arkansas at Little Rock. A native of Robstown, Texas, 23 years old and an undrafted free agent signee by Kansas City back in 2020. 1-1 pitch to Emschoff, low and outside. It's now 2-1. He's a catcher that features a lot of pop. Stands at 6'2", 225, and anytime you can find power from the catching position, you'll take it. 2-1, big cut, but Emschoff is ahead of that changeup, and he falls behind 2-2. Of course, it was an abbreviated season back in 2020 at the NCAA level, but Emschoff absolutely dominated that year. As the 2-2 pitch is tapped weakly out in front of home. This one grounded softly towards short. Coming in is Wynn. He fires to first, but it's not in time as Emschoff beats it out. I thought that one was going to be picked up by Lardner, the pitcher, but he reached out to his right, couldn't grab it, and Wynn had to come all the way in from his shortstop position to field that one on the grass, and Emschoff was able to beat it out. So it goes down as an infield hit for him. Cale recorded his first hit at the High A level with an RBI double back on Sunday against Cedar Rapids, and now he's got one here on Tuesday. So 2 men on with 1 out for the 9-hole hitter, Parker Bates, another newcomer to this River Bandit squad, a left-handed hitting outfielder. First pitch, fastball just a bit outside, maybe low. Not sure where that one missed, but it's 1-0. Bates playing in his 4th game with the River Bandits, 1 for his first 12. Parker began the season over in the Arizona Complex League as he's a member of the 2021 draft class. As the 1-0 pitch catches the outside corner, it's now 1-1. Bates, the 9th round selection by Kansas City in this year's draft. 23 years old, out of Tyler, Texas. Drafted out of Louisiana Tech University. Lardner, a glance towards second. Now the 1-1 home, a check swing roller over to the left side. Walker has it to second for 1. No throw to first. And the 1 out is all they'll get as Emschoff is retired on the fielder's choice. And Bates takes his place at first, with Cole advancing to third. So it's not going to be the second River Bandits hit for Parker Bates, but it does move a man just 90 feet away from scoring. Quad Cities already has a 2-0 lead. We're here in the bottom of the second. And there are men on the corners with 2 outs for the leadoff man, Michael Garcia. Lardner out of the stretch, delivers the first pitch, and it's a bit outside for ball 1. Garcia just hit his 2nd homer of the year last Saturday against the Cedar Rapids Colonels. Like I mentioned earlier, he's not really a power guy. Hits for average and steals a lot of bases. Also an excellent defender. 1-0 pitch, low and inside, and Garcia works ahead 2-0. 4 hits already for the Quad Cities River Bandits. 2 in this inning. 2-0, low and in, and it's now 3-0. So Lardner already above 40 pitches with 2 outs here in the bottom of the second inning, and he's behind Garcia 3-0. Michael doesn't get too many RBI opportunities sitting atop the lineup. He does have 17, though, in 43 games. Bates away from first with a good lead. Cole standing over at third. 3-0 to Garcia, swung on and grounded into the diving glove of Wynn over at short. Throw across the diamond is errant. It goes into the dugout. Cole scores, and now moving up to third is Parker Bates. Garcia will, of course, move up to second as well, and the Bandits extend their lead to 3-0. Great diving stop by Mason Wynn over at short, but made an inaccurate throw to first, and the inning will continue. The run was going to score anyways. Cole was off with contact. But instead of holding on to that ball, there are now 2 men in scoring position with 2 outs, and we're going to have our first mound visit of the ball game as the Peoria pitching coach, Rick Herrig, makes a slow walk out to the mound. So that's going to once again go down as a single with an error. Same thing that happened to Nick Lofton, who was due up next back in the first inning. So now 2 errors in the ball game for the Peoria Chiefs, and we're not even through 2 innings. So Herrig already done with his conversation. He is strolling back to the dugout, and now Lofton steps to the plate with those 2 men in scoring position and 2 outs. Nick has been a solid contributor in the RBI category this year, and even 50 in now 82 games. Singled and scored a run back in the first after Massey's 2-run homer. First pitch to him here, fouled over the right side. It ricochets off the top of the sweet level for strike 1, and that one was just feet above Rascal, who is visiting fans up in the sweet level, and he didn't even notice that that ball banged off the wall behind him. Ignorance is bliss, folks. 0-1. Breaking ball just a bit outside. Good take from Lofton. And it's 1-1. Already action in the bullpen for the Peoria Chiefs as a right-hander is beginning to toss. Lardner is now at 44 pitches through an inning and 2/3. 1-1 to Lofton. Fastball high and outside, and it's 2-1. Beautiful sunset over across the river. If there are low-hanging clouds on the horizon, you get a nice orange glow on them. But like I mentioned, there's not really a cloud in the sky, just a couple barely peering over the tree line on the Illinois side of the river. 2-0 pitch to Lofton is outside, and it's 3-1. So if he wants, Lardner has a base open. He could put Lofton on and opt not to pitch to him here, but the man on deck is Michael Massey, who hit a 2-run homer his first time up. 3-1, high and outside for ball 4. So Lofton works the walk. He now has 6 walks in the month of September. He's only struck out once. Showcases the maturity that Lofton has been developing this season. And so now with the bases loaded, here comes the ever-dangerous Michael Massey. Massey has a couple of multi-homer games. He's the only River Bandit to have games with multiple homers. He'll swing at the first pitch and bloop it towards right. This is going to be an easy play for John Torres, who is positioned perfectly. He makes the catch and then tosses it into the stands behind the ribbon board in right. And the Bandits end up leaving them loaded in the bottom of the second. But they do get a run on a single and an error and lead 3-0 going to the third here on the River Bandits Baseball Network. The River Bandits have scored in each of the first 2 innings tonight. They're on top 3-0 heading to the top of the third. And Christian Cosby will re-toe the rubber, working with a comfortable lead and having retired all 6 of the first Chiefs hitters who have come to the plate against him. Bandits, 5 hits to create those 3 runs as Mac Lardner is nearing 50 pitches. And we'll have to see if he ends up coming back out for the third. However, looking down into the Peoria bullpen, there is no longer that right-hander throwing, so presumably Mac will be back for the third. So it's Aaron Antonini who will lead off for the Chiefs. He's the 7-hole hitter in the DH. He'll be followed by the center fielder Reichenborn and the left fielder Chamberlain. Left-handed batter for the righty Cosby, who peers over the glove for the sign from Emschoff. First pitch, fastball, swung on and missed for strike 1. Antonini, a native of Caracas, Venezuela, played his college ball at Middle Tennessee State. 0-1. Fastball called strike on the outside corner, and it's 0-2. Pitch count wise for Cosby, he is now at 38. He has thrown 24 of those pitches for a strike. 0-2, check swing, foul ball off the screen. That one was a fastball on the upper inside corner at 95, according to the radar gun over and right. Antonini didn't want to swing, but got the barrel of the bat out just a little bit too much and ended up fouling it off. 0-2, low, beneath the knees, good stop from the catcher Emschoff. Didn't matter though, there's nobody on base. So 1 ball and 2 strikes on Antonini, playing in his 16th game with the Chiefs this year, batting just .163 to start his campaign here in High A. Does have a homer, 2 doubles, and 7 driven in. However, he is struck out in 21 of his first 49 at-bats. 1-2 pitch. Off speed, low. And Antonini lays off, doesn't chase, and the count to 2-2. That's one of the go-to pitches for Cosby, that's splitter that just sort of dives into the ground. It works as his changeup and gets a lot of soft contact. Very similar approach to Charlie Neuweiler, who is scheduled to pitch for the Bandits on Thursday. 2-2. Popped foul over towards the left side. Bleacher section. And it bounces right into an empty cove of seats. A youngster will go grab that one. Count still 2-2. The sun no longer factoring into the field of play here at Modern Woodmen Park. Everything shaded and the lights now coming on. The Chiefs DH steps out. Now is ready to go once again. Emschoff sets up on the outside corner for Cosby. Out of the hybrid, the 2-2. Just a bit low. Tried to catch the lower outside corner and came up empty. Antonini works the count full. Cosby looking to avoid allowing his first base runner of the night, as the 3-2 is high for ball 4. So Antonini draws a walk. It's his 9th of the season in now 17 games, and he'll trot down to first as the first Peoria base runner. Walks-wise, Cosby has been fine in that department this year, just 16 in now about 64 innings pitched this year. He is always pounding the strike zone, and of course you love to see a guy that doesn't issue the free pass. In a game that's so filled with home runs and strikeouts these days, kind of forget about the guys who can just pound the zone. First pitch to Tyler Reichenborn is the fastball high, but he chases. Comes up empty for strike one. 95 out of the hand of Cosby as Antonini gets a lead from first. He hasn't stolen a base so far with Peoria this year. Christian, of course, now working out of the stretch as the 0-1 breaking ball bounces in the other batter's box, but Emshoff with an excellent sliding stop to his right keeps the baseball in front, and most importantly, keeps Antonini at first. So a 1-1 count. The runner doesn't advance into scoring position, and Cosby holds the ball in his bare hand, now getting the sign from the catcher. Double play depth for the River Bandits infield. That's Garcia and Massey up the middle. 1-1, swing and a miss from Reichenborn. It's 1-2. Tyler, another undrafted free agent, signed back in 2019. A native of St. Louis Park, Minnesota, playing for the St. Louis Cardinals organization. 208 hitter and 245 at-bats this season. 1-2 pitch from Cosby. Broken bat liner. This one's down into left field for a base hit. Cole will pick it up on one hop and then toss it into Michael Garcia, but not before the Chiefs string together two base runners to begin their half of the third inning. Reichenborn was out in front of that pitch, hit it off the end of the bat, as whoever came out of that Peoria dugout is now inspecting the barrel on his way back into the dugout. Yeah, that one definitely a broken bat. Probably not one you can use again. So men on first and second for the Chiefs, who have their first base runners of the evening. And with nobody out, the 9-hole hitter, Matt Chamberlain, comes to the plate. First pitch, fastball. Called strike on the outside corner. Good start from Cosby. It's 0-1. Chamberlain has played in 75 games this season. That is second to Francisco Hernandez. 0-1. Popped up. This one on the left side and foul ground. Emshoff, the catcher, reaches for it and he drops it, having to dive towards the third baseline. It wasn't in fair territory, so it's not a hit. It's not an error, and it ends up just being strike two as opposed to out number one. Tough play there for Emshoff, who had to not only lose the mask, but then head up the line towards third as opposed to behind home plate. It was a tough angle. He got a glove on it, but was unable to hang on to the ball as he fell to the ground. So 0-2 count on Chamberlain. Cosby will look for strikeout number 3. He's had one in each inning so far, with the exception of this frame. A look to second. Short lead there for Antonini. 0-2. Low. Good stop from Emshoff once again. And it's 1-2. Well, throughout this season, it's been Will Hancock and Logan Porter handling the catching duties, but Emshoff, the recent call-up, will help give those guys some much-needed days off here in the latter weeks of the year. 1-2. Fouled off the screen on the left side, and the count will hold. Chris Swager, the Peoria manager and third base coach, will flip it into the Bandits dugout. Chris, a former pro ball player in the Cardinals organization, made it as high as AAA. He's been with Peoria for a couple of years now. Here comes the 1-2 to Chamberlain. Swung on and missed. Cosby got him on the off speed, and that's a much-needed out number 1. As Christian fans Chamberlain for the first out of the frame, his third strikeout of the day, and it turns the lineup card over for Mason Wynn, the shortstop. Cosby right on track with the strikeout per inning rate that he has showcased this season. A ground ball here could get him out of the frame unscathed. First pitch, fastball just outside, maybe high. Not sure where that one missed. It's ball 1. It's one of those pitches where Emshoff was looking for something on the inside half of the zone, and when it missed perhaps on the outside portion of the zone, it looks further off the plate than it actually is. But I'm just a broadcaster. Cosby looks towards second and forces Antonini to walk back, but nobody's holding him on there. Wynn flew out to right field his first time up in the first. He's a guy was actually drafted as a two-way player. He can pitch, he can hit. He's only thrown one inning, though, this season. 1-0 off the inside half, and it's 2-0. As I mentioned earlier, Wynn has struggled at the plate, just a 195 average. He's got a couple of doubles, a couple of triples, and a couple of home runs, but the OPS just at 524. 2-0. Fastball, called strike on the outside corner. And Cosby begins the journey back against Wynn. It's 2-1. The Ferris wheel out and left, starting to spin again. Lights coming on there. Lights on the bridge, though, still not on. 2-1 pitch. Breaking ball, just low and outside. Wynn holds off. And the count to 3-1. So now the pitch count getting up there for Cosby. He was working efficiently through the first two innings, but now is fallen into the same issues as Mac Lardner. He's now got 57 pitches thrown in 2 1/3 innings pitched. 3-1. Fastball low and outside for ball 4, and it loads the bases for Jordan Walker. So Wynn gets the walk. It's only his 6th in 120 at-bats this year. Antonini goes to third, Reichenborn to second, and now Steve Luber, who has rejoined the River Bandits team, will head out for a mound visit. Steve had been away from the team over the last couple of weeks, and serving as the interim pitching coach for the River Bandits was former big leaguer Jeff Suppan. Soup is a roaming pitching coach in the Kansas City Royals organization these days, so he's been bouncing back and forth between affiliates, but once Luber needed to take some time away, he was able to step in, and what an awesome opportunity for these young ball players to get to learn from a guy who had a 10-plus big league career and pitched in the kind of games that Jeff Suppan did. Steve Luber, though, of course, not to discredit him whatsoever, he has got some of the most coaching experience in this Royals system. Just part of a decorated coaching staff. So he's back in the dugout. Bases are loaded, and there's one out. Jordan Walker swings at the first pitch and fouls it over the right side for strike 1. Bandits lead 3-0 here in the top of the 3rd inning. Cosby has allowed 3 of his last 4 opponents to reach. 2 on a walk and 1 on a single. 0-1 to Walker. Fastball below the knees, and the count to 1-1. Walker struck out swinging back in the first. Big-time athlete that looks like he could be playing wide receiver in the NFL. 6'5", 220, first-round pick last year. 1-1 from Cosby. Perfect fastball on the lower outside corner, and he works ahead 1-2. 96 on the radar gun there. And now we'll see what Cosby goes to, up ahead in the count for the first time in a while. Garcia and Massey looking to turn 2. The corners looking to perhaps turn 2 as well. 2-strike pitch, grounded towards second. Massey has it. He has to go to first. It's his only play. A run will score. So Peoria makes it 3-1. And out at first on the RBI ground out is Jordan Walker. So he gets the job done. Wynn with great speed. Was pretty much already into second base as Massey picked that one up. So definitely a smart decision for him just to get the sure out at first. But it does leave 2 men in scoring position for John Torres. Tying runs on base. Go-ahead run at the plate for Peoria. First pitch to John. Swung on and fouled over towards the Party Plaza area. Well out of play. for strike one. So for Walker, he picks up RBI number 14 this season. Oh, 1, Sky towards deep right field. Going back is Bates. He's at the track. He reaches up and he makes the catch, crashing into the radar screen for out number 3. Welcome to Davenport, Parker Bates. This guy looks like he's been playing in this outfield for the last 3 seasons. Excellent grab from Parker Bates as he gets a high five heading in with Nathan Eaton, or make that John Rave, his fellow outfielder. So it keeps the score at 3-1. Bandits still on top and coming to the plate for the bottom of the third when we return. This is High A Central Baseball on the River Bandits Baseball Network. The Peoria Chiefs are on the board after scoring 1 on an RBI ground out from Jordan Walker back in the top of the inning. And now here in the bottom of the third, the Bandits will counter with Nathan Eaton, John Rave, and Jake Means, who will face the lefty Mac Lardner. First pitch from the Peoria starter is outside for ball 1. There was a man warming up in the bullpen for the Chiefs back in the bottom of the second inning, but Chris Swager has opted to go back to the southpaw, who now evens the count against Eaton with a fastball on the outside corner. 1-1, Lardner working quickly. Once again tries the outside corner but misses. It's 2-1. Eaton obliging to the quick speed, however. He steps out for about half a second and gets right back into the box. 2-1 pitch, fastball, called strike on the upper half of the zone. Eaton turns around and asks A.J. Chalk where that one was. No real argument from him, and it's 2-2. Eaton struck out swinging in the first. Lardner with the 2-2 just low, and the count goes full. Mack is now at 54 pitches through 2 innings. Payoff pitch to Eaton, fouled off the top of the screen and back towards the production room. That one got pretty close to the booth down there. Not sure if it made it in or not, but there's some clapping going on in the seating bowl. Interesting. Here comes another 3-2 to Eaton. He pops it up, this one towards the right side and heading towards foul ground. Francisco gives it a look, but it bounces into the party plaza for a foul ball. 1 run on 1 hit and 2 errors for the Chiefs so far. For the Bandits, 3 runs on 5 hits and no errors. Scored 2 in the bottom of the first on Michael Massey's 2-run homer, and then got an RBI ground out from Garcia back in the second. Another 3-2. This one skied towards left center field. Heading over is Reichenborn. He's got room and makes the catch on the warning track for out number 1. Well, that ball just kept sailing towards the fence, and I mentioned the wind blowing out to left field tonight. Not something we see too often here, so that one perhaps influenced by Mother Nature, but it ends up in the glove of Reichenborn for the first out. So Eaton's retired. He's now 0 for 2 to start the night. And here comes John Rave, who, like Eaton, struck out in the first. Left-on-left matchup here, as Rave takes a big cut at a first-pitch fastball, but comes up empty for strike 1. Rave, a .254 hitter this season, with an OPS of an even .800. 1-strike breaking ball just inside to Rave, and it's 1-1. John, a native of Bloomington, Illinois, played his college ball at Illinois State. 1-1. Breaking ball outside, scooped up in the dirt by Pajes, and it's 2-1. Rave, a 5th-round pick by Kansas City back in 2019. One of 3 top 5-round picks by the Royals that are outfielders on this Bandits team. Rave, a 5th-round pick in 2019. Tyler Gentry, who is currently on the IL, a 3rd-round pick in 2020. And Eric Cole, a 4th-round pick in 2018. 3-1 to Rave is outside for ball 4. John works his 31st walk of the season and will trot down to first as Lardner has issued his 3rd free pass of the ball game. Correction, that's just the second walk of the game for Mac Lardner. But it's the third time in as many innings where he's allowed a base runner with one out. So he's been able to get that first one, but not the second. So here's Jake Means. The first pitch to him is outside for ball one. Jake was the third of a string of 3 strikeouts from Lardner, ending the first and beginning the second. Right-handed batter in Means as the 1-0 misses inside, and it's 2-0. Well, Means is riding a 3-game hitting streak. He actually has a 3-game extra base hit streak with 2 doubles and a home run over the course of 3 games. That home run on Saturday was his first since August 4th. He went exactly 1 entire month without hitting a homer. 2-0, rocketed towards third base. Walker has it to second for 1, on to first, and Peoria goes around the horn and uses their 75th double play of the season to help Lardner face the minimum in the bottom of the third. So Means grounds out into the 5-4-3 double play, and that sends us to the fourth as the Bandits are held off the scoreboard for the first time tonight. 3-1 lead for Quad Cities, though. We'll be right back here on the River Bandits Baseball Network. For the first time tonight, the Peoria Chiefs starter, Mac Lardner, does not allow runs in an inning. It keeps the Bandits' lead at 2 as they're on top 3-1, heading into the top of the 4th inning. Kyle Kercheval with you from Modern Woodmen Park in downtown Davenport. Thank you so much for tuning into tonight's broadcast. Whether you're watching on MILB TV or just listening to the audio-only version at riverbandits.com, thank you so much for choosing to spend part of your Tuesday evening with us. Important game for Quad Cities tonight, because if they pick up a victory, they will clinch one of the 2 available postseason spots this season. If they find their way into the postseason, it'll be the 4th consecutive season where Quad Cities has played baseball after the regular schedule. So Christian Cosby, the Bandits starter, will look to keep adding to that effort. He's done well tonight, giving up just 1 run on 1 hit. Faced 6 batters in the 3rd inning, gave up a couple of walks, and then the run on an RBI groundout from Jordan Walker. Pedro Pajes is the first man to face him in this inning, and he rockets a shot off of Cosby on the mound. It dribbles over towards third base. Eaton picks it up, and it's going to be an infield hit for Pajes. And now, of course, all attention turns to Cosby, who looks to be completely fine out there on the mound. Caught him around the thigh area. And if you're going to get hit by a comebacker, that's where you want it to be done. Both umpires come and check on Cosby. He's shaking out his right leg and doing a couple of squats just to stretch it out. But Danny Acola, the River Bandits trainer, is staying in the dugout, and Cosby is staying in the game. So that's great to see. He gives the A-OK to Mitch Treziak and now steps back onto the hill. So now he'll face Jacob Buschberger, the Peoria second baseman who struck out swinging back in the 2nd. First pitch, fastball right down the middle for strike 1. Pajes, not a stolen base threat over at first. He has tried to steal 3 times this year and has done so successfully once. 0-1 pitch. Breaking ball, called strike 2 on the lower outside corner, and Buschberger falls behind 0-2. Just the 11th game for him with the Chiefs this season. Bandits looking at turn 2 with a man on first and nobody out here in the top of the 4th. 0-2 pitch from Cosby is outside. And the count goes to 1-2. Of course, we'll definitely keep tabs on the High A Central scoreboard tonight. We'll check on that in a moment, see what else is happening throughout the league. 1-2, swing and a miss. Another strikeout for Christian Cosby. He's got 4 in 3 1/3 innings tonight. And he responds to the hit well. Striking out Bushberger for the second time tonight. And he'll now face Thomas Francisco with a man on first and one away. Francisco was the sixth of 6 consecutive set down by Cosby through the first 2 innings. As the Peoria first baseman fouls the first pitch back to the screen for strike 1. They're already in the bottom of the 7th inning over at Lake County, where the Captains lead the Dayton Dragons 6-1. 0-1 pitch to Francisco, grounded foul into the first base dugout, quickly 0-2. The Great Lakes Loons are all over West Michigan, 10-0 at the end of 4 innings at LMCU Ballpark. Great Lakes has been one of the top teams in the league this year. They are, in fact, the number 1, or were the number 1 offense in the league after being overtaken by Quad Cities recently. 0-2 to Francisco, fouled over the left side, count holds. Bandits were the number 1 offense for about the first 80% of the season, but then slumped a little bit at the end of August. Great Lakes took over as the number 1 offense, but now the Bandits back on top, scoring a league best 638 runs this year. Here comes another 2-strike pitch to Francisco, and it's grounded up the middle. Garcia charging. He has it. Steps on the bag for 1. On to first for the double play. It's an inning-ending twin killing. 6-3 as Garcia steps on the bag himself and then completes the double play at first as the Bandits turn 2 for the 78th time this season. Cosby ends up facing the minimum in the top of the 4th and sends us to the bottom half with the Bandits still on top 3-1. This is High A Central Baseball on the River Bandits Baseball Network. As we come back for the bottom of the 4th inning here at Modern Woodmen Park, let's continue checking out the rest of the out-of-town scoreboard. Fort Wayne and Lansing were rained out today, so their game has been postponed and moved to part of a doubleheader tomorrow. The Wisconsin Timber Rattlers, after scoring 6 in the bottom of the 1st inning, lead the Colonels 6-4. They're in the top of the 3rd there. Colonels scored all of their runs in the top of that inning. And then over at ABC Supply Stadium, the Beloit Snappers and South Bend Cubs are tied up at 3. The Bandits will take on the Cubs from September 14th to the 19th. That is the final regular season series of the year for Quad Cities. So if you're thinking about coming out to one more River Bandits game this season, well, you've got, at least as far as the regular season goes, a game against Peoria tomorrow at 6:30, and then the Chiefs in town until Sunday, and then South Bend will actually be here for 7 games, as Thursday the 16th will be a doubleheader. So we're back underway here in Davenport as the first pitch to Eric Cole is outside for ball 1. 7, 8, and 9 due up for Chris Witcher here in the frame as the Bandits will look to get back in the scoreboard after being held off in the bottom of the 3rd. Next pitch to Cole evens the count at 1-1. Eric, a switch hitter, hitting from the right-handed side against the lefty Lardner. 1-1. Low and away, now 2-1. 68 pitches now for Lardner. He's thrown 34 of them for a strike, so an even 50%. 2-1. Popped towards right field. Should be an easy play for Torres, who takes a couple of steps to his left and now jogs backwards and loses the ball. It's down on the warning track. Cole will get all the way to 3rd base as the throw is cut off. And I have no idea what happened over in right field. Looked like a can of corn grab for John Torres, who made it look that way until the last moment when he started sprinting towards the wall and the ball bounced behind him. So it's going to go down as an error for Torres as the official scoring is already up on the board. It's the 3rd error for Peoria tonight. And all of a sudden the Bandits have a man at 3rd and nobody out for Cale Emshoff. Well, that's just tough luck for Lardner, who thought he had out number one and was ready to move on to the next guy, and now the infield has to come in to protect against a potential fourth River Bandits run. So here's Emshoff. He's singled back in the first and watches the first pitch low for ball one. Emshoff's hit, an infield hit that just got past the mound and was too far out in front of the shortstop Win for him to get there in time to complete the play. Right-handed batter against a left-handed pitcher. As the 1-0 to Emshoff is a fastball a bit high and outside, and the catcher works ahead 2-0. Cale bats with a shin protector on his left leg. He's got a sleeve on his right arm. 2-0 pitch. Hammered, but this one much higher than it is far. Chamberlain over and left, coming in. He'll make the catch. Tagging from third is Cole. He'll put on the brakes and stay there. And a good throw in from the outfield. Make sure the Bandits do not record a sac fly. So Emshoff had the right idea. He got under it, but just a little bit too much. And now there's one gone after the F7. So it gives another RBI opportunity for a new guy. This time it's Parker Bates, who is stepping into the left-handed batter's box after reaching on a fielder's choice back in the second inning. Bates, big-time RBI guy back in college with Louisiana Tech. Led that team in ribbies for 4 straight seasons, including recording 62 in 62 games this year prior to being drafted. First pitch to him was low. Pedro Pajes blocked it out in front of home and kept Cole at third. So a 1-0 count on the Bandits' right fielder. Bats with an open stance and his knees bent. 1-0 to Bates. Just a bit outside, maybe a hair high, and it's 2-0. This last season in college ball, Parker slashed .346, .471, .583, and led Conference USA in on-base percentage. 2-0. Sky towards left. This one a little bit deeper than the last one. Now Chamberlain coming in hard. He makes the catch. Cole once again bluffs a tag, but can't go anywhere. That fly ball ended up in almost the exact same spot, despite it looking much different off the bat. And Emshoff and Bates both fly out to left field, keeping Cole at third. Both guys coming up with the right approach, just not hitting it deep enough. And now it'll be up to Michael Garcia, who will look to record a 2-out RBI, or at the very least, hand the baton to Nick Lofton, who stands on deck. Lardner now at 75 pitches with 2 outs in the bottom of the fourth. That right-hander once again throwing in the bullpen for Peoria. First pitch to Garcia, dribbled foul towards the River Bandits bullpen, where a sweat-shirted reliever comes in, picks it up, and runs it back towards the bucket over by the Bandits bullpen bench. Garcia, an RBI single back in the second, as the 0-1 misses low, and it's 1-1. For Garcia, his single came with an error on the shortstop Win. One of 3 Peoria E's in this one. They enter the ballgame tied for second most in the league, and now exiting this ballgame will presumably have the most, as the 1-1 is inside Garcia. 2-1. 3 runs, 5 hits, and no errors for Quad Cities, who has been clean defensively. Bandits did not score a run in the third, but got 3 in the first and second combined. 2-1 hitters count. This one goes underneath the legs of Pajes at 5 holes him, but it dribbles not too far away behind him. He's able to get up and keep Cole at third base. Tough read for Eric as well over at third. That ball got perfectly behind Pedro to the point where I'm not even sure Cole saw it got away from him until the last minute. 3-1 count on Garcia. as Lardner comes home, and this one is skied towards deep left field. Chamberlain going back, but he's got space. He camps under it and makes the catch for out number 3. So after Cole reaches on an error from John Torres in right field, Mac Lardner gets 3 consecutive fly balls to left field to strand the man there and keep the Bandits off the board in the 4th. Heading to the 5th inning here at Modern Woodmen Park, Quad Cities still on top, 3-1 here on the River Bandits Baseball Network. River Bandits Baseball is back on the air here in downtown Davenport. Quad Cities on top 3-1, entering the top of the 5th inning. Christian Cosby will remain on the hill for the Bandits as he's looking to put together a 5-inning start tonight. He's done that a few times before. In fact, of his 8 starts, or excuse me, 5 of his 8 previous starts have gone for 5 or more innings this season. And on August 19th, he had a 2-inning scoreless start cut short thanks to a weather suspension. So he very well might even have more than that. He has given the Bandits some good innings tonight, ended up facing the minimum in the top of the 4th despite allowing a leadoff single. Got a nice 6-3 double play turned by Michael Garcia and Jake Means to eliminate the base runner and allow him to face the bottom 3rd of the order here in the 5th. The first man to hit is Aaron Antonini. He'll take the first pitch high and outside for ball 1. Aaron was the first man to reach for the Chiefs after he walked to begin the top of the 3rd. 1-0 pitch from Cosby, high and outside. It's now 2-0. Nope, that right-hander that was throwing in the bullpen for Peoria in the last inning has once again stopped. That is the 2nd time tonight they've done that. 2-0. Skied towards deep right field. Bates going back. He's at the track, at the wall. He looks up, and it's gone. A long, towering home run to right field for Aaron Antonini. It is his 2nd as a Peoria Chief, and it makes this game 3-2. The Bandits lead cut to just 1. Well, that was truly a towering homer that, as I looked through my window here in the booth, got above the frame of the window and fell down somewhere along the Mississippi River. So Antonini in his Modern Woodmen Park debut has a home run and a walk. And it brings up Tyler Reichenborn with nobody on and nobody out. First pitch to him is high and tight. A slider misses in. It's 1-0. The Bandits have a left-hander warming up in their bullpen as Cosby is getting up there pitch count-wise and obviously just gave up the homer. Second pitch to the AB to Reichenborn is waved at and missed for strike 1. Cosby now at 78 pitches. That is easily the most he has thrown this year. 1-1 to Reichenborn. Tipped into the glove of Emschoff, and it's strike 2. So he's looking to respond with a strikeout, just as Mac Lardner did after giving up the 2-run homer to Michael Massey in the 1st. Always a good way to bounce back from a 4-bagger. 1-2. Swung on and missed. Reichenborn chases up and in. And Cosby picks up his 5th strikeout of the ball game. And sure enough, responds to the home run with a strikeout. And it brings up the 9-hole hitter, Matt Chamberlain, after the K. I forgot to mention, Bandits are in their traditional home white vests with the black sleeves, the black and red cap. Peoria in the road gray pants with the baby blue jerseys. First pitch to Chamberlain is low for ball 1. Similar to those throwbacks for their parent club, the St. Louis Cardinals. It's a great look. Truly one of the best in the league. 1-0, Tapper foul off the fence in front of the first base dugout, and it's 1-1. It's got the red numbers on there, Peoria, in that Chiefs font across the chest, and it's got some nice red trim going around the sleeves. the neck and down the buttons. 1-1 off the end of the bat foul. It ricochets off the sweet level and down into the seating bowl. And now Chamberlain falls behind 1-2. He struck out swinging his first time up in the third. Cosby looking for back-to-back Ks. Emshoff sets up away. The 1-2 perfectly located but just a bit outside. Cosby puts his hands up asking where that one was. That's a good question. Pretty good pitch there, but nonetheless the count to 2-2. Emshoff once again sets up in that same spot, and Chamberlain fouls one off just over the top of the Bandits dugout. A couple of guys in there taking covers. That ball was rifled just over the roof. Still 2-2. Cosby now over 80 pitches. He sets at the belt. Now comes up high. The 2-2. Another foul ball over to the left side, and Chamberlain is really making Cosby work here. Can't quite make out who the left-hander in the River Bandits bullpen is. I can tell you, though, that the right-hander for Peoria has once again started to throw. Looks like it's almost time for bullpen here at Modern Woodmen Park. 2-2, fastball called, strike three. Chamberlain completely frozen. Watches that one go by, center cut for strike three. 6 strikeouts now for Cosby as he matches his total from his last start. And that'll be his final act of the night as manager Chris Widger is making a walk out to the pitcher's mound. So we'll have our first pitching change of the evening. It comes with 2 outs in the top of the 5th as Christian Cosby gets a nice ovation from the fans here at Modern Woodmen Park. New man on the hill for the Bandits. We'll tell you all about him when we come back. Quad Cities still leads 3-2 with 2 outs here in the top of the 5th. Well, after allowing the leadoff homer to Aaron Antonini to start the top of the 5th inning, Christian Cosby responded with back-to-back strikeouts, but that's all he would do in this inning as Chris Widger goes to the bullpen and comes back with the lefty, Patrick Smith. Smith enters the ball game for the 7th time this season as a River Bandit. He's 1-0 with a 2.53 ERA. In 10 2/3 innings pitched, he has given up 10 hits, 6 walks, and has 12 strikeouts. Smith stands at 6'2", 215 pounds, and is 24 years old out of Elk Grove, Illinois. Began the year with Low A Columbia and was originally drafted by Kansas City in the 33rd round of the 2019 draft. So he'll come on in a very nice spot. 2 outs and nobody aboard. However, the top of the lineup comes to the plate now for Peoria in the shortstop, Mason Wynn. Speedster flew out back in the first inning and then walked in the third, but did not score. First pitch from Smith is a fastball right down the middle for strike one. No, Smith definitely has one of the best mustaches in the High A Central. If you're watching on MILB TV, you can definitely get a good look at that. Frankly, there are lots of good mustaches in this league. I'm not sure why that is. 0-1 slider fouled off to the right side. It's 0-2. Wynn was well behind that. Hit it off the handle of the bat. Quickly falls behind with 2 strikes. Whatever the mustache is there for, it's been working for Smith. A solid contributor for the Bandits since coming over at the beginning of August. 3-2 ball game. Quad Cities on top. Looking for one more out here in the top of the 5th. As Smith pauses at the belt. Now the 0-2 slider just a bit outside. Excellent pitch there. And now Emshoff will have to throw the ball back to Smith, who looked a bit confused there. Really a good offering, but A.J. Chalk has been consistent tonight. He has not given up those corners of the zone. So here comes the 1-2 to Win, and it's a slider again, almost the exact same spot, but it misses, and the count to 2-2. Smith played his college ball over in the Big Ten with the Purdue Boilermakers in 2018 and 2019. Began his career with Burlington in 2019. 2-2. Swung on and missed. This time, Smith says, forget the slider, I'm going back to the fastball, and Wynn whiffs for strike 3. And Cosby and Smith combined to strike out the side in the top of the 5th, but not after, or rather not before, Aaron Antonini blasts a solo homer to right field to make it a 1-run ball game. Bandits on top 3-2, heading to the bottom of the 5th here on the River Bandits Baseball Network. Bottom of the 5th inning here at Modern Woodmen Park. A 1-run ball game between Quad Cities and Peoria, with the Bandits currently on top 3-2. Nick Lofton begins the frame for Quad Cities. It'll be him, Massey, and Eaton 2 up against a new pitcher for the Chiefs. It's the right-hander Emmanuel Solano, who's making his 29th appearance of the year. 0-1 pitch to Lofton is swung on and tipped into the glove of Pajes for a quick strike 2. Solano takes over for Mac Lardner, who gave up 3 runs in 4 innings tonight, as the 0-2 misses outside with a slider, 1 ball and 2 strikes. However, despite the 3 errors, all of those runs for Lardner were earned. 1-2, called strike right down the middle. Lofton is frozen, and he's down for the first time tonight after singling and walking in his first 2 plate appearances. So Solano begins his frame with a strikeout, and now he'll pitch to Michael Massey. The Bandits scored 2 runs in the bottom of the 1st on a 2-run homer for this man, Michael Massey, and then a run in the 2nd on an RBI single for Michael Garcia. But since then, the bats have been quiet. Don't have a hit since that frame. First pitch to the Bandits' second baseman is a called strike, 0-1. Solano this year is 4-0 with a 4.10 ERA and just under 50 total innings. 0-1, fouled back to the screen, and Solano quickly works ahead. It's 0-2. Solano has faced the River Bandits 4 times previously this year. His most recent was on July 22nd here at Modern Woodmen Park, where he pitched 3 scoreless innings and stranded just 2 base runners. 0-2 is just outside to Michael Massey, so the immaculate inning is off the table. Peoria shifting heavily towards the right side, playing Massey to pull. Lots of space over towards third. 1-2, skied towards right center field. This one, though, going to be playable for Reichenborn. The center fielder ranges over into the gap and makes the squeeze for out number 2. So after the 2-run homer, a pair of fly balls off the bat of Michael Massey, and it'll bring up Nathan Eaton with 2 outs and nobody on in the bottom of the 5th. Solano struggled in his first month and a half with the Chiefs, an ERA of over 8 in June, as the first pitch to Eaton is a called strike 1. After that, he's been great. An ERA under 2 in July, and in August, a 2.63 ERA. 0-1, slider tapped foul, and it's once again another 2-strike count as Solano has come out firing. Bandits looking to respond as the Chiefs have scored 2 unanswered in this one to bring the Bandits' lead down to just 1. 0-2, inside, Eaton bends out of the way, and it's 1-2. Eaton's got a 3-game hitting streak he's looking to add to. His home run in Game 1 of the Cedar Rapids series was his first since since July 28th. He, like Means, went through a long homer drought as the 1-2 misses outside. The count evens at 2. That said, Eaton's played some good baseball for Quad Cities as of late, the only Bandit with multiple home runs in that last series. 2-2, swung, not and missed. Eaton can't connect on the slider, and Solano goes 1-2-3 in the bottom of the 5th. So we'll head to the 6th inning here at Modern Woodmen Park. Quad City still on top, 3-2 on the River Bandits Baseball Network. Good Tuesday evening once again, everybody, and welcome back inside the John O'Donnell press box and Modern Woodmen Park here in Davenport, Iowa, where the Bandits currently lead the Peoria Chiefs 3-2 entering the top of the 6th. The Bandits' bats have gone cold. They haven't scored in the last 3 innings, while Peoria has scored a pair, one in the top of the 3rd and one in the top of the 5th. However, after the solo home run by Aaron Antonini back in the 5th, Christian Cosby and Patrick Smith combined to strike out the side to move things on. So Smith will again toe the rubber for Quad Cities. 2 outs here would get him his first full inning of work tonight. He'll face Jordan Walker, John Torres, and Pedro Pajes. That is 2, 3, and 4 for the Chiefs. As the first pitch to Walker is skied foul, out of play down the right side for strike 1. Walker is hitless tonight, struck out swinging in the 1st inning and then drove in a run with a ground ball in the 3rd. 0-1, slider hammered foul, again just over the roof of a dugout, this time the first base side. And take cover if you are along the baselines tonight. Smith quickly ahead 0-2. Looking to make it 4 straight strikeouts for the Bandits. The pitch. Fastball off the top of the netting and into the sweet level. A nice grab up there. Perfect way to catch a foul ball here at Modern Woodmen Park. Get one of those sweets and then play a ball off the top of the screen. That's like just catching a throwback from your buddy. That is definitely not nearly as scary as catching a home run ball or something like that. Still an 0-2 count to Walker, right-handed batter against a left-handed pitcher as Smith comes home and misses outside with a fastball. 1 ball and 2 strikes. No hits for the top 3 hitters in the Peoria lineup tonight. Mason Wynn did walk in the 3rd, but otherwise been nothing but outs. Smith looking to keep it that way. Emshoff sets up on the inside corner, and the 1-2 fastball misses high and in. It's 2-2. So Smith goes from 82 with a breaking ball to 95 with a fastball. Good change of speeds there. However, Walker was able to lay off of the last one. Here comes the 2-2. And time is called at home just in front of the pitch. Smith was already coming home with it, so he just tossed it off the backstop, and Walker will take a moment to take a practice cut before stepping back into the box. A.J. Chalk gets a new handful of baseballs from River Bandits starter A.J. Block, who we'll see later on in this series. He pitched on Sunday. So here comes the actual 2-2 to Walker, and it's just outside with a fastball, 3-2. Well, Smith has been all over that outside corner. He has just not gotten it called for a strike, and these Chiefs hitters are smart not to chase out there. They're simply spitting on it and waiting for the next pitch. Full count offering from Smith, and it's low for ball 4. So Walker reaches for the first time tonight. It's a leadoff walk issued by Smith, and it puts the man on with nobody away for John Torres. Torres hit a high fly ball to right field back in the 3rd inning. Parker Bates, the River Bandits right fielder, made a nice catch leaping up against the ribbon board over on the right side. That is not a soft surface to leap upon, I can tell you that. He's made some really good plays over in that corner infield position tonight. It's his first game here at Modern Woodmen Park, and you'd never be able to tell. Both of Torres' at-bats have ended in F9s, and he'll take a first pitch called strike as Smith works ahead. So he got in front of Walker 0-2 through 3 consecutive strikes, the third a foul ball, and then a bunch of a bunch of balls after that to end up issuing the free pass. A pick towards Walker. He's back standing up. Jordan has 11 stolen bases in 13 tries this year. That is second best on the Peoria roster behind Mason Wynn, who has 13 in just 29 games with the Chiefs this season. Smith pitches from the third base side of the rubber. The 0-1. Fastball right down the middle. It's 0-2. Patrick working with jet black cleats. Hard to tell if there's any color on them at all. Black glove, black sleeve, or black sleeves, I should say. Here comes the 0-2 to Torres. And just a bit low and inside, the count moves to 1-2. As I mentioned earlier, Smith played his college ball at Purdue and began his pro career in the Appalachian League back in 2019. No affiliated ball in 2020, so he pitched independently with the Sugarland Lightning Sloths of the Constellation Energy League. What a cool team to say you've played for before. Another pick over to first, and Walker back standing up. Pace is slowed down considerably for Patrick Smith, who hasn't worked quite as quickly as Christian Cosby did. Really, him and Lardner kept things going fast. 1-2. Inside, it got him. This one around the knees, and Torres ends up reaching for the first time tonight on a hit by pitch. So once again, Smith starts ahead of a hitter, 0-2, and then allows that man to eventually reach. First it was Walker, who walked, and now Torres on a hit by pitch. So the tying run into scoring position for Peoria, that's Walker, and now Torres, of course, at first. And I think Smith was looking towards the dugout, perhaps anticipating some kind of mound visit, but Steve Luber stayed put, and he's resting his head on his left arm, which is pressed up against the padding over on the fence inside the dugout. So here's Pedro Pajes, 1 for 2 with a fly ball and a single so far tonight. First pitch to him, fastball, called strike, 0-1. Well, the numbers for Pajes haven't been super flashy this year. Just a .244 average, an OPS of 723. He does have 9 homers, which is currently the most on the active roster. It ties him with Zade Richardson, who is not in the lineup tonight. But he puts together a good at-bat every time he comes to the plate. As he swings it in 0-1, dribbles it softly down the third base line. Eaton touches up foul, and it goes down as a strike for Pajes. So that is the third consecutive batter that Smith has worked ahead 0-2. His problem has just been getting strike 3, or frankly just getting an out. First 2 men to hit for Peoria in this frame have reached, and they represent the tying and go-ahead runs. Pajes takes his time to wipe off the barrel of the bat. He inspects the lumber before stepping back into the box. A slightly closed stance for him. Just a little bit. Smith gets the sign from M. Schaff, and now comes set at the belt, but time is called. Pajes thought he was taking too long and will take even longer. The wind is still blowing out to left field, so something to keep an eye on, especially with a right-handed power bat at the plate. We've already seen it impact a couple of fly balls tonight. Here comes the 0-2. Fouled off the handle over the right side. And we'll do it once again. Pedro, a 6th-round pick by St. Louis back in 2019. A native of Maracay, Venezuela. Played his college ball at Florida Atlantic. Men on first and second for the Chiefs. Nobody out here in the top of the 6th inning. Bandits clinging to a 1-run lead. Smith, a look towards second. No one holds the runner. The 0-2 breaking ball sent foul over the right side, and Pajes stays alive. Well, Smith kind of missed his location there. The slider hung up probably a little higher than he was hoping to leave it, but all Pajes could do was send it foul. A good approach with 2 strikes. And he will continue to wait for his pitch. Smith trying to find that secret sauce for a strike 3 in this inning. They have been hard to come by. Another 0-2. Fastball low and in. It gets away from Emshoff, but he's able to scoop it up, and both runners hold. A combined 5 runs in this game, 8 hits, 3 errors. All of those errors belonging to the Peoria Chiefs, who now lead the league in defensive errors this season. Bandits have the tail of the tape edge, if you will, over Peoria, leading them in almost every category. But the Chiefs have given the Bandits some problems this year. Another 2-strike pitch and another foul ball over the right side. Pedro Pajes is digging down into that baseball bucket. And right on cue, A.J. Block has to deliver another couple handfuls of balls to A.J. Chalk. Crowd getting a little bit restless here with nobody out and 2 men on in the top of the 6th inning. Pajes in the midst of what will be a 7-pitch at-bat once Smith comes home again. Another look to second. The 1-2, breaking ball high and outside, and it's 2-2. And Pajes just, I think I mentioned this last time the Chiefs were in town. He just never looks rattled up there. Truly just a patient hitter that looks well beyond his years. It's always fun to see a guy like that throughout the course of a season. Just a guy that you know is seeing the ball in a way that's different than everyone else out there. Another 2-2 from Smith, and it misses high and outside. And the count is worked full. 8-pitch at-bat between Patrick Smith and Pedro Pajes. The River Bandits lefty is now at 23 pitches over the course of just 1/3 of an inning. He allowed a leadoff walk to Jordan Walker and then hit Torres with a pitch. Both of those outcomes occurring after he was ahead in the count 0-2. Payoff pitch to Pajes, and it's just fouled off the glove of Emshoff. He almost held on to it. And instead, we will have a 9-pitch. Make that a 10-pitch at-bat between Pajes and Smith. So Patrick will get a new sign from the catcher. He's mixed up his fastball and slider well, just has not been able to get a swing and miss. A long pause at the bell. And once again, time is called. Pajes thought Smith was taking too long, and at this point, sort of a chess match and a war of attrition between these two. Pajes not a guy that's going to give in to you, that's for sure. 3-2 ball game in the top of the 6th inning. This at-bat began somewhere around the Eisenhower administration. Here comes the 3-2. Both runners take off, and it's high and outside for ball 4. Pajes works the walk. A 10-pitch at-bat ends up going the way of the Chiefs catcher, and now the bases are loaded with nobody out. So it'll draw a mound visit from Steve Luber. Definitely time for one here. The Bandits will probably get somebody up and throwing in the bullpen. Peoria, 2 runs tonight on just 3 hits. They have worked a decent amount of walks between Patrick Smith and Christian Cosby. They have now given up 4 through 5 innings. For the most part, they've been able to keep those base runners in check with just a pair of runs on the scoreboard, but eventually they started to add up, and you never end up cheating walks, I can tell you that. So A.J. Chalk points up towards the press box, indicating that the Bandits have used their second mound visit of the night. Steve Luber back in the dugout, and here comes Jacob Buschberger, who, perhaps fortunately for Smith, comes to the plate 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts. Bases loaded for Peoria here in the top of the 6th, and still nobody out. First pitch from Smith is beneath the knees for ball 1. Buschberger has recorded both of his strikeouts swinging tonight. Signed by the Cardinals back in 2020 as an undrafted free agent. 1-0 fastball, this time a called strike. Catches the lower half of the zone. 1-1. As I mentioned, Buschberger from Montague, Michigan, actually recorded a 3-hit game against the Whitecaps earlier this month as he swings and misses through a 1-1 fastball, and Smith again ahead, 1-2. Montague not too far away from where the Whitecaps play. It's his hometown team, basically. He had 311 in 71 games with Low A Palm Beach before getting called up. 1-2. Called strike 3 right at the knees, and Buschberger's down on strikes for the 3rd time tonight. Important strikeout for Patrick Smith, who now has 2 of them. And with the ground ball, could perhaps dance his way out of this inning. 2 walks and a hit by pitch have loaded the bases. But Smith will now pitch to Thomas Francisco with 1 out. Francisco has already bounced into a double play. It was 6-3 back in the 4th. First pitch, another ground ball towards Shark. Garcia has it to second for 1. On to first, in time for the double play. Come on, Patrick Smith. A fist bump from him as he makes his way back into the dugout. He avoids a bases loaded situation and keeps the Bandits on top by 1. That man eats nails for breakfast, and boy did he just come through for Quad Cities. The Bats looking to pick things up in the bottom of the 6th inning, hoping to add on to the Bandits' 3-2 lead. This is High A Central Baseball on the River Bandits Baseball Network. Patrick Smith just got himself out of a no-out, bases-loaded situation in the top of the 6th inning. He struck out Jacob Buschberger and then got Thomas Francisco to bounce into an inning-ending 6-4-3 double play. He keeps the Bandits' 1-run lead intact as we head to the bottom of the 6th inning, and we'll begin with John Rave coming to the plate against Emmanuel Solano, who retired the Bandits in order back in the 5th. First pitch to Rave is a fastball just off the inside portion of the plate, and it's 1-0. Solano, a right-hander, facing a lefty in Rave, and then a righty in Means, who is on deck. Next pitch to John is low, and he works ahead 2-0. John, not known for his walk numbers, struck out swinging in the 1st, but did reach via a base on balls in the 3rd. 2-0, line towards the right side, sliding stop from Francisco at first, and he wins the foot race to the bag for out number 1. Oh, what an awesome play by Thomas Francisco. A sliding stop to his right side. He does the full 360 pirouette, and he retires Rave for the first out, despite John hitting that thing on the screws. Baseball can be the cruelest game sometimes, and John Rave is reminded of that the hard way. So here's Means, struck out swinging in the second and bounced into an inning-ending double play in the third. First pitch to him this time is swung on and missed for strike one. Last time out for Solano was on September 3rd. Pitched an inning and 2/3 scoreless against West Michigan. Stranded a couple of base runners, including 2 hit-by pitches. He has only given up 1 earned run in his last 8 appearances. He has been fantastic for Peoria. Here comes the 1-1 to Means, and it's a fastball on the inside corner. Jake falls behind, 1-2. Means a 22nd round pick by Kansas City back in 2019, native of Jasper, Texas. 24-year-old corner infielder. Here's the 1-2 from Solano. It's just a bit outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, like I said, AJ Chalk has not given those corners, but he's been consistent. Neither team has been able to ring up its opposition, working away from the hitter. 2-2. Broken back, grounder over towards third. Walker has it, fires across the diamond, and Means is retired for the second out. That one absolutely saws off Means as the barrel of the bat bounced all the way towards the infield. Over by shortstop, Chris Widger, the Bandits manager, will grab one half of the bat and walk it back towards the dugout, while AJ Block grabs the other half. That is the definition of a clean break, just 2 big pieces. It'll buzz the hands and ends up being the second out. And now here's Eric Cole. Well, the Bandits were tough outs in the first couple of innings, but since they scored in the second, they have only brought 1 over the minimum to the plate. First pitch to Cole is inside for ball 1. See if Eric can spark something here with 2 outs and nobody on. If anybody can produce a 2-out base runner, it's this guy. 1-0. Fastball, called strike. That one on the outside corner, and Eric Cole wondering where that's been for his pitchers. But he'll step back into the box. Cole usually a pretty soft-spoken guy. Doesn't show a whole lot of emotion out there. 1-1 from Solano. Fastball fouled over the Champs Club on the right side, out of play. And it's 1-2. So Solano's looking to make it 6 up, 6 down. And if he's able to retire Cole, it'll be 9 up, 9 down for the Bandits in their last 3 innings. Last base runner was this man Cole, who reached on the error by Torres over in right. Got all the way to third with 1 out, but didn't score. And now he's down looking. Solano puts one on the inside corner, and all Cole can do is watch it go by for strike 3. Third K of the day for Solano as he cruises through the Bandits in the bottom of the 6th. As the Bandits still lead, but just by 1. 3-2, heading to the top of the 7th here at Modern Woodmen Park. Well, as we come back for the 7th inning here at Modern Woodmen Park, let's take a look at the playoff scenarios for the rest of the Royals minor league system. Of course, as we've mentioned tonight, a win in this ball game would clinch a postseason berth for the Quad Cities River Bandits. Over in AAA, the Omaha Storm Chasers are 61-47. That is second in the AAA East Midwest Division. It puts them 1 game back of the Toledo Mud Hens for first place, and 7.5 games back of the Durham Bulls, who are poised to win the regular season championship in the AAA East. AAA is set up a little bit differently than Low A, High A, and Double A this season, as there will be 1 regular season champion at the end of the season. The team with the best overall record will get that. And then they will play what they call the AAA Final Stretch, which will feature all 30 teams playing 10 games, and the team with the best winning percentage over those 10 games will be crowned the winners of the AAA Final Stretch. So sort of an interesting playoff system in that league and that level this season, but it's one of those things that Major League Baseball has had to organize on the fly given the shortened seasons this year in minor league baseball. Here's Aaron Antonini to lean things off. The first pitch to him is a called strike one out of the hands of Patrick Smith. Antonini 1 for 1 with a walk and a solo homer back in the fifth. That was the last tally of the ball game. As Smith works ahead quickly, puts the slider on the inside corner, and Antonini takes it for strike two. Left on left here, Garcia the shortstop, shading up the middle a little bit. The 0-2 slider grounded to the right side and past the glove of Means and into right field for a base hit. What a game for Aaron Antonini, now 2 for 2 with a walk, a single, and a solo home run. For the AA Northwest Arkansas Naturals, they are 57 and 50, which is good for fourth. In the AA Central North Division, they are 4.5 games back of the Wichita Wind Surge and 1.5 games back of a playoff spot. So they are definitely somebody to watch on the scoreboard throughout this week. As the first pitch to Tyler Reichenborn is a fastball called strike on the inside corner. Now, speaking with the voice of the Naturals, Nicholas Batters, who I actually had the chance to go to college with down in Arizona State. 0-1. Popped up. This one on the infield. Means the first baseman calls everybody off. Now scrambles in towards fair territory and will make the grab for out number 2. That is the second time tonight that we've seen a River Bandits infielder make a last-ditch charge towards an infield fly. Means, though, able to make the grab, and Reichenborn is retired for the first out. He is now 1 for 2 with a single tonight. And over for the Columbia Fireflies. They are third in the Low A East South. They are 47 and 61 and 30 games back of the Charleston River Dogs for first place in that division. So no playoffs for Columbia this year. First pitch to Matt Chamberlain was high and inside. Matt had to duck out of the way. He's ahead in the count 1-0. Smith takes a deep breath, kicks and fires, and a fastball gets across knee level, and it's 1-1. Chamberlain in the 9-hole, 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts. By the way, those Charleston River Dogs, 77 and 31. That is the best mark in minor league baseball. 1-1 breaking ball, high and inside. Chamberlain works ahead 2-1. Here at the high A level, Bowling Green over in the high A East South Division owns the best record in high A. They are 75 and 33. Quad Cities just a little bit behind them. They have the second best record. 2-1, misses low, went away to Chamberlain, and he works ahead now 3-1. Aaron Antonini reached first via a seeing eye single into right to begin the frame. Reichenborn just popped out to Jake Means, and now Smith looking to set down Chamberlain, although being behind in the count. 3-1 is low and outside. It's ball 4. Smith ends up walking his third batter of the game, and it will move the tying run into scoring position. Smith has not been particularly accurate in this ball game. Thing is, like I said, he's getting ahead in the count early. He's had no problems getting guys into 2-strike counts. It's just been finishing them. Wasn't able to get into a 2-strike count against Chamberlain and walked him 3-1. And now we'll face Mason Wynn, the leadoff hitter. First pitch swung at, popped foul down the right side. It gets out of play, and it's strike 1. Wynn, the first man to face Smith for a second time, struck out swinging to end the Chiefs' half of the 5th inning. Smith, a glance over to second, and that'll cause Antonini to scramble back to the bag. He was well off of the base. It wasn't being held, but Smith looked in his direction, and I think he realized how far off the base he was. Had no issues getting back, though. He's hopping around at second. Smith stares him down. The 0-1 to Win. His breaking pitch inside. 1 ball and 1 strike. A right-hander has started to toss for the Quad Cities River Bandits. Smith is now approaching 50 pitches of relief. 1-1 pitch. Fastball outside corner. That one just gets the black, and it's 1-2. Well, Smith worked himself into a bases loaded, no out situation in the top of the 6th. He was able to use a strikeout and a double play to avoid giving up any runs in that frame. Long pause at the belt. Now the 1-2 to win. It's inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Wynn doesn't have a hit tonight, but he did walk in the 3rd. Guy has been struggling with the bat, but features great speed. Not too often you see a leadoff hitter with an average below 200, though. 2-2, grounded up the middle. Massey has it with a backhand. Flip to second for 1. On to first. They don't get him. He's safe. And the Bandits just get inches away from another inning-ending double play as Wynn's superior speed ends up beating the throw from Garcia, who did about all he could at second to get that ball out of his glove as soon as possible. Very clean flip from Michael Massey. Garcia caught it on the run and then threw it off his right foot, which was still standing on second base. Wynn was able to beat it out. Now there are men on the corners with 2 away. Antonini to 3rd and Wynn to 1st. So he reaches on the fielder's choice despite an excellent effort from the Bandits' middle infield. And here's the dangerous Jordan Walker. Pick to 1st, Smith, a soft toss over to Means, almost threw it away, but Jake able to reach across the runner and make the catch. Smith has certainly put himself in some tough situations. He's been able to get out of them for the most part. Let's see if he can do it again. First pitch to Walker. Fastball, perfect location on the inside corner for strike 1. The velocity has come down a little bit for Smith. He's now in the low 90s with the fastball. He is now at 47 pitches, and we'll get a visit from Cale Emshoff. Well, let's break out the binoculars and see if we can identify who's warming up in the bullpen for Quad Cities. It's a right-hander. I still can't quite tell. Like I've mentioned before, the way the netting is situated here at Modern Woodmen Park and the way the angle is from the press box, it looks like you're looking through a super thick screen door trying to identify who's warming up in the bullpen. Here comes the 0-1 from Smith. Fastball swung on and missed. It's 0-2. Jordan is hitless tonight. Struck out swinging in the 1st. Drove in a run on a ground ball in the 3rd and then walked in the 6th. Smith looking to retire him here and strand a pair of runners. 0-2 pitch. Driven towards deep left center field. Rave on a dead sprint back. He looks up and it's off the top of the wall. 1 run scores. On his way home is Wynn. The throw is cut off. And now Chris Swager pointing towards left center field saying that that ball was over the yellow line and should be a home run. And I think he's right. That ball bounced off the Busch Sports Turf sign over in left center field and is over the yellow line. Mitch Tresiak will come home and talk to A.J. Chalk, and I think this is going to be a 3-run homer. Walker's currently standing at second base. Conversation between the umpires is in between the mound and home plate, shading a little bit towards third base. Mitch Tresiak, the field umpire tonight, he'll be behind the plate tomorrow. Big call coming here as Walker stands with his arms outstretched over at second. And sure enough, it's overturned. It's a home run, and that is the correct call. For Walker, it is his 4th of the season, and it puts the Peoria Chiefs up 5-3. What a turn of events for the River Bandits. Just a roller coaster of an inning. And now Chris Widger is out to talk things over with A.J. Chalk. Yeah, definitely from what I saw, the correct call. If you're watching on MILB TV, I'm sure you've had a look at it yourself. There's a yellow line on the top of the field, or rather on the top of the fence going all the way around, and that indicates if the ball's hit over it, it's a homer, regardless of what is above that yellow line, even if it looks like the fence extends up there. So I'm not exactly sure what Chris Widger is arguing, but the Chiefs are on top. It's 5-3 here in the top of the 7th inning. A pitching change hasn't been made yet, and you almost have to wonder if Widge is out there purely to allow his right-hander some more time to throw. And now here comes Chris Widger moving over towards Mitch Tresiak, the bases umpire. So I'm not sure what A.J. Chalk said. He said, you need to take it up with my partner. Patrick Smith and Cale Emshoff now discussing things at the base of the mound. It should be John Torres up next with 2 outs, and the base is empty after a 3-run homer. For Smith, it's the 2nd round tripper he has given up. This is his first time facing the Chiefs, and as I mentioned earlier, he had done some pretty nifty magic acts, getting out of bases loaded situations, but this time he's unable to avoid Jordan Walker, who just smashed a ball to left center field. Chris Widger is still pleading his case to Mitch Tresiak over by the first baseline, and again, I'm just not sure what he's arguing. Maybe he's asking how that can be overturned, but like I said, that one pretty clearly a home run from my vantage point. So he'll head back to the dugout. Still mentioning a couple of words to A.J. Chalk on the way back, but it's a 3-run homer for the Peoria Chiefs for Jordan Walker. They have now scored 5 unanswered runs and lead 5-3. And now, sure enough, here comes Chris Widger, who didn't even make it all the way back to the bullpen before turning around and going to grab Patrick Smith. So we'll have our 2nd pitching change of the night for Quad Cities, our 3rd overall. A new right-hander coming on for the Bandits when we return here on the River Bandits Baseball Network. After allowing a go-ahead 3-run home run to Jordan Walker, Chris Widger pulls Patrick Smith and turns to a right-hander in Casey Kallick, who will take over on the hill for the 11th time this season for the Quad Cities River Bandits after being acquired by the Kansas City Royals in a trade with the Atlanta Braves that sent Jorge Soler to Atlanta and Kallick to Kansas City. So he'll come on with 2 outs and nobody on. John Torres at the plate, and a first pitch slider is swung on and missed for strike 1. Final line on Smith now that he's officially out of the ball game. The 0-1 slider called strike on the outside corner. It's 0-2. Smith goes 2 innings, allowing 3 runs earned on 2 hits, 3 walks, and 2 strikeouts. Kallick looking to make quick work of Torres and get the Bandits back in the dugout, as the 0-2 is inside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Kallick's last outing came against Cedar Rapids back on September 3rd. Gave up a couple of runs in an inning of work there. 1-2 grounded down the 3rd baseline and into left field. It should be extra bases. Cole scoops it up with the backhand. Torres cruises into 2nd. And Peoria once again threatens here in the 7th. It's a 2-out double from Torres. It's his first hit of the ball game and double number 24 on the season for him. Well, this year, Kallick has struggled giving up hits. In his combined numbers between Quad Cities and High A Rome when he was with the Braves organization, he's given up now 50 hits in 43 1/3 innings. Overall, he is 2-2 with a 3.32 ERA, 5 saves and 5 opportunities. This definitely not that, though. First pitch to Pedro Pajes, a line drive, 1 hopper over to Garcia. He bends down, collects, and fires across to first for out number 3. Good swing there from Pajes, just hit it right to the wrong guy at the wrong time. And the Chiefs will have to settle for 3 in the top of the 7th, but it gets the job done. Quad Cities now trails. They're down by 2, heading to the bottom of the 7th here on the River Bandits Baseball Network. Bottom of the 7th inning here at Modern Woodmen Park, where for the first time tonight, Quad Cities trails. It's 5-3 Chiefs, as Emmanuel Solano remains on the hill for Peoria and will pitch to Emshoff, Bates, and Garcia, 8, 9, and 1 in the Bandits order. The 0-1 to Emshoff is a slider, waved at and missed. It's 0-2. Solano has had his way with the River Bandits lineup. He has faced 6 batters and retired them all, no problem. He's got 3 strikeouts already and has Emshoff in an 0-2 hole. Kale singled back in the 2nd and then flew out in the 4th. Now the 0-2 to him here is swung on and missed. He chases a slider low. That is back-to-back strikeouts for Solano, going back to the 6th. And it's his 4th of the ball game. And seldom do you see the River Bandits shut down so easily at this stage of the ball game. The late middle innings, if you will, where the Bandits produce most of their runs. They've scored 80 total runs in the 6th and 90 total runs in the 7th this year. 90 is their highest of any inning. So we'll see. Still lots of baseball to go in this frame as Parker Bates shows bunt at the first pitch and then pulls back. It was low and away for ball 1. In the 9 hole, Bates is hitless, reached on a fielder's choice in the 2nd, and then flew out back in the 4th. 1-0 inside, and it's 2-0. That almost caught him, but Parker barely budged over in the left-handed batter's box. That one came in at 91. The Chiefs do have a left-hander warming up in the bullpen, as Solano has now issued 29 pitches of relief. 2-0, swung at, grounded down the first base line, foul, and it's 2-1. The Bandits this season are 52-4 when leading after the 6th inning. They were leading going into the 7th, but after the 3-run homer for Jordan Walker, they find themselves behind in a rare case. 2-1, swing and miss from Bates. It's now 2-2. Of course, if you've watched any amount of Quad Cities River Bandits baseball this year, you know that this team is never done. A 2-run lead is nothing for this team in the late frames. We have seen some unbelievable comebacks throughout this year, and that's part of the reason why the Bandits are 1 win away from a playoff berth with 13 games to go. 2-2, popped towards right center field. This one's shallow. Torres in on the run, but he'll make the catch chest high for out number 2. So that is now 8 in a row set down by Solano. And he will face Michael Garcia for the first time tonight, the last man standing in his way of retiring everyone in the Bandits order. Garcia is grounded out, flown out, and recorded an RBI single in the 2nd. First pitch to him here is fouled off down the right side, and it's strike 1. Garcia, a native of Venezuela. Solano, a native of Santo Domingo Oeste in the Dominican Republic. 0-1. Fastball just a bit outside. It's 1-1. Garcia signed as an international free agent with the Royals back in 2016. July 27th of that year, to be more specific. Right-on-right matchup as the 1-1 comes home and is taken just outside. 2-1. Garcia has gotten a lot of praise from inside the Royals organization. He has what many think is one of the most underrated gloves in this system. He's an excellent defensive shortstop. 2-1. Fastball, same spot, still outside, and it's 3-1. Well, a 2-out base runner would be big, especially in the form of Garcia, because that means that Nick Lofton and Michael Massey are to follow. 3-1. Grounded up the middle. Charging hard is Wynn. He gathers, throws, and gets Garcia at first for out number 3. So it's 9 up, 9 down from Emmanuel Solano. The Bandits are without a base runner since the 3rd and without a hit since the 2nd inning. We're going to the 8th here at Modern Woodmen Park. Peoria leads Quad Cities 5-3. The River Bandits bats have gone MIA in this one. They scored 2 runs in the bottom of the 1st and 1 run in the bottom of the 2nd, and since then do not have a hit and have just 1 base runner since that frame, and it was a walk in the 3rd. Emmanuel Solano has absolutely decimated the River Bandits at the plate, and he has pitched his way to a 5-3 advantage for Peoria. He's given the offense enough time to kick it into gear, with the big difference maker being a 3-run homer by Jordan Walker back in the top of the 7th. We're in the top of the 8th now. The Bandits, as we've mentioned, need a win tonight to secure themselves a playoff berth, as Jacob Buschberger swings at the first pitch from Casey Kallick, grounds it over to 3rd, and Eaton throws across the diamond for out number 1. So that's a nice 1-pitch, 1-out for Kallick, who gave up a double to John Torres when he entered in the 7th, but got Pedro Pajes to ground out to end the frame. So officially 2/3 of an inning pitched for him now, and he gets a swing and a miss on his first offering to Thomas Francisco. Buschberger and Francisco 5 and 6 in the order, are a combined 0 for 7 with 3 strikeouts and 2 double plays. Francisco responsible for both of those twin killings as he fouls off the 0-1 pitch and falls behind 0-2. Kallick has not faced the Chiefs this season prior to tonight. The 0-2 home, slider just a bit outside, good location, and it's 1-2. Garcia shading up the middle is the shortstop, Eaton deep in the hole over a 3rd. They're definitely anticipating Francisco to pull the ball. 1-2, swung on and miss, he chases a slider low, and Kallick picks up his first strikeout of the game for out number 2 here in the top of the 8th inning. That's just a beautiful sequence there. Goes slider just a bit away and then throws one back foot. Gets a swing and a miss, and you can't draw it up much better than that with 2 strikes. So here's Aaron Antonini. He has been an issue for the Bandits this evening. He is 2 for 2 with 3 runs scored, a walk, a single, and a homer. The first pitch to him this time around misses low and away for ball 1. That left-hander for Peoria continues to throw down in the first base bullpen, so he'll presumably take over for Solano in the 8th. 1-0 pitch, grounded over to first. Means has it on the backhand and flips to Kallick covering for out number 3. So a 1-2-3 inning from Kallick. He's retired 4 straight, and easy peasy in the top of the 8th. Bandits, though, looking to spark the bats once again. They trail 5-3, heading to their half of the 8th on the River Bandits Baseball Network. Casey Kallick just gave the River Bandits a perfect 1-2-3 top of the 8th, and now he's waiting for his offense to kick it into gear as Quad Cities trails 5-3 down to their final 6 outs tonight. They will have the 2, 3, and 4 hitters due up in Lofton, Massey, and Eaton against a new pitcher as Peoria goes to the left-hander, Sean Keeley. Keeley stands at 6'7", 225 pounds out of Pittsburgh. Signed as an undrafted free agent by St. Louis back in June of this year. Nick Lofton is up. The first pitch to him is a called strike on the outside corner. Keeley, in 10 appearances with the Chiefs, is 1-1 with a 5.94 ERA in 16 2/3 innings. The lengthy left-hander kicks and deals and misses high. 1 ball and 1 strike. Lofton recorded the Bandits' first hit of the game, a single back in the first. He ended up scoring a run on Michael Massey's 2-run homer. 1-1 breaking ball, misses low and in. Lofton works ahead 2-1. He then walked in the second inning but didn't score, and most recently struck out looking in the fifth. 2-1 from Keeley. Fastball just below the knees, and it's 3-1. Keeley's last outing came against West Michigan back on September 3rd. Gave up a run in an inning in the third. 3 hits, no walks, and 3 strikeouts. 3-1. Lined into left field. This one's down for a base hit. Racing to cut it off is Chamberlain. He does so and fires a strike into second base, holding Lofton to a single. So he's already extended his hitting streak. 4 straight games for him. The on-base streak at 17, as he's got a 2-hit night and gives the Bandits a much-needed base runner. That is their first hit since the second inning of the ball game. So the tying man on for Michael Massey, who already has a 2-run homer tonight. It was back in the first, number 21 on the season for him. First pitch from Keeley, perfectly located fastball on the lower outside corner, and it's 0-1. Massey has had so many big hits for Quad Cities this year. Seems only fitting that the Bandits would have to work a comeback victory to clinch a playoff berth tonight. 0-1. Breaking ball popped towards shallow left field. Chamberlain coming in. He's got room and he'll make the catch. Really, I should say he had time. That ball was not hit all that high, but he was able to make his way in and retire Massey on his 3rd consecutive fly ball. And he will shake his head in disapproval as he walks back into the dugout. So with 1 out, here comes Nathan Eaton. Eaton is hitless in the cleanup spot, 0 for 3 with a pair of strikeouts. Keeley out of the stretch, kicks and fires, and the slide step delivery, not even a kick and fire, just sort of a push of the leg forward, and it gets a strike across to Eaton at 92 on the radar gun. Kind of a quick pitch there from Keeley. He glances towards first. Now the 0-1 is low and inside with the slider. 1-1. Now Keeley played his college ball at Allegheny College. Is the North Coast Athletic Conference Pitcher of the Year back in 2019. As the next pitch to Eaton is out of the zone. 2 balls and 1 strike. Spent 4 seasons with the Allegheny Gators, then pitched independently back in 2020 before signing with the Cardinals. 3-1, fouled off the handle of the bat and over the right side. The count evens at 2-2 to Eaton. Entered the game with a modest 3-game hitting streak. That in jeopardy at the moment. Bandits have not had a lot of production out of the middle of the order, sans the 2-run homer for Massey. Long pause from Keeley at the chest. Now the 2-2. Misses below the knees. And Eaton works the count full. Keeley started the season at Low A Palm Beach. Had a 3.68 ERA in 14 2/3 before getting the call up. The payoff pitch home. Fastball outside for ball 4. So Eaton works the walk, and the Bandits get the tying run on base with 1 out here in the bottom of the 8th. Quad Cities just 5-30 when trailing after 7 innings this season. That said, they do have 37 come from behind wins in their 70 total this year. You can just never count these guys out of a ball game. Here's John Rave. He's hitless, but did walk in the 3rd. Left-on-left matchup. Pajes, the catcher, sets up away, and the fastball from Keeley misses well inside, and that'll draw a visit from the catcher. Lofton singled down the left field line to begin the bottom of the 8th. He's over at second. Massey flew out weakly to left before Eaton worked a full count walk. The Bandits are looking to scratch across their first run since the bottom of the second inning. All the kudos in the world to Emmanuel Solano, who faced 9 batters in relief and retired them all. Here's the 1-0. Fastball right down the middle, and it's 1-1. Rave has 13 home runs this season, almost all of those coming in the second half of the year. He's tied with Logan Porter for the second highest mark on the team. He's got 44 RBI and, like I mentioned earlier, an OPS of an even 800 entering the ball game. 1-1, fouled off the sweets on the left side. Rave falls behind 1-2. He has struck out in 18 consecutive ball games after K-ing to end the first. Interesting, Rave, despite his great speed, has not recorded an extra base hit that hasn't been a homer since August 12th. 1-2, called, strike 3. That's a slider on the outside corner, and Rave's caught looking for out number 2. First strikeout of the game for Keeley. It comes at a big time, and now the left-hander will turn his attention to Jake Means. Bandits down to their final 4 outs. They trail 5-3 here in the bottom of the 8th inning, but do have the tying runs on base and the go-ahead run at the plate in Jake Means. 0 for 3 with a strikeout, a double play, and a ground ball. Both runners take off as the first pitch to Means is low, and everyone is safe without a throw. What an awesome jump from Nick Lofton over at second base. Eaton was not far behind. Lofton will pick up his 9th stolen base of the year, and for Eaton, it's his 20th. Only River Bandit to reach the 20s. So a double steal executed perfectly by Quad Cities gets the tying runs in scoring position, and the 1-0 to Means is fouled back to the screen. He gets a round of applause from Chris Widger, who acknowledges a good cut. And it's 1-1. Oh, good speed on the base paths here. So pretty much anything into the outfield. Good chance this ball game is tied. Keeley, a pause. Now the 1-1. Fastball just a bit outside, maybe high. And once again, we're seeing Keeley following in that line of pitchers who comes out of the bullpen, throws that pitch on the outside corner, and is flabbergasted when it isn't called a strike. That's just been the zone from A.J. Chalk tonight. With that, though, surprised there have only been 8 runs. 2-1. Popped up. This one an off-speed pitch that Means got under, and it's foul. It goes behind the backstop, and it's 2-2. Well, deuce is wild here in the bottom of the 8th. 2 on, 2 outs, and a 2-2 count to Jake Means. Bandits need 2 runs to tie up the ball game. They've got them standing in scoring position. The crowd knows the situation. 1,355 through the gates here on a Tuesday night. Pajes sets up on the outside corner. The 2-2 below the knees for ball 3, and the count is full. River Bandits up against the fence in the dugout, hoping that Jake Means can either tie up the ball game or keep the inning going. A right-hander has started to throw for Peoria if Keeley runs into trouble. Taking a long time to get the sign from Pajes. Now he's got the one he wants. The payoff pitch to Means is inside for ball 4. Fantastic at-bat from the Bandits' first baseman, and it will load the bases now for Eric Cole. Gotta think there's gonna be a mound visit here. Yep, here comes Rick Herrig, and he is peeking towards the bullpen, but it looks like he'll come out just for a conversation and at the very least allow that right-hander some more time to warm up. Quad Cities has the bases loaded with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 8th inning. They have not scored a run since the 2nd, and with a single from Lofton to lead off the inning, just got their first hit since that frame. Keeley is at 23 pitches. He's thrown 11 for a strike. And when facing Cole, will face his 6th man to hit in the inning. A single to Lofton, a fly ball from Massey, and then walks to Eaton and Means. Those coming with a strikeout from John Rave in between them. The entire infield comes in to discuss and now is heading back towards its usual positions. Rick Herrig back to the bullpen, or excuse me, into the dugout. So here's Cole, switch hitter, batting from the right side against the southpaw Keeley. Cole singled back in the 2nd inning, reached on an error in the 4th, got all the way to 3rd with nobody out but didn't score, and then struck out looking to Emmanuel Solano to end the 6th inning. Tying runs and go-ahead run on base for Quad Cities as the first pitch to Cole is a called strike on the outside corner. And that is a big first pitch strike there from Sean Keeley. 94 fastball on the radar gun. Cole with his slightly open stance waves the bat out in front of him and now bounces it up on his right shoulder. 0-1. Off speed, low and outside, picked out of the dirt from Pajes, and it's 1-1. Bandits here at home, 33-14. One of the best road marks in all of, or excuse me, home marks in all of minor league baseball. Their road mark, 37-22. They have been just as good on the road as they've been at home, if not better. 1-1. Fouled off the glove of Pajes, and it's 1-2. Just feels like one of those games since the 2nd inning. The Bandits have had to scratch and claw for absolutely anything. Finally, they've got some base runners on here. Eric Cole trying to take advantage. Bases full of Bandits, 2 outs, and a 1-2 count on Cole here in the bottom of the 8th. Keeley comes set, kicks and fires. The 1-2 is inside, and it's 2-2. Well, as we've said before, Eric Cole is in no way, shape, or form going to just hand Keeley the out here. He's got 53 walks on the season, or excuse me, just 52. I thought he had one tonight. 6th highest mark in the High A Central. This guy is never out of an at-bat. And now time is called ahead of the 2-2 pitch. Lofton over at 3rd, Eaton at 2nd, Means at 1st. Single, walk, and walk for those guys respectively. That right-hander looks pretty much good to go over in the Peoria bullpen, should Chris Swager call upon him. Here's the 2-2 to Eric Cole, and it's grounded up the middle. Picked up at 2nd by Buschberger, and he gets it to 2nd in time for the out. Buschberger, excuse me, a diving stop up the middle. He places the glove on the base, and it just beats Jake Means for out number 3. Chris Widger doesn't like the call. He's walking out towards shallow right, where Mitch Tresiak is waiting. Jake Means is pleading his case, but for the Chiefs, they get out of a bases-loaded situation and keep their 2-run lead intact. Heading to the 9th inning here at Modern Woodmen Park, the Chiefs 5, the Bandits 3. Well, the River Bandits got the tying runs and the go-ahead run on base. They juiced him up in the bottom of the 8th inning. However, Sean Keeley was able to get Eric Cole to ground out, and all 3 runners were stranded, and the 5-3 score remains intact. Peoria on top, looking to tack on more here in the beginning of the 5th inning. Both teams with 6 hits. And Tyler Reichenborn to the plate, looking to add to his 1-for-3 evening. 8-9-1 due up for Peoria against Casey Kallick, who delivers a first pitch fastball that's lifted towards left center field. Cole and Rave converging in the alley, and it's the center fielder, John Rave, who makes the catch for 1 pitch, 1 out. Same start that Kallick got back in the 8th inning. And that is now 5 straight retired by the right-hander after giving up the 2-out double to Torres back in the 7th. Chamberlain is without a hit, but he did walk in the 7th. He swings at the first pitch and fouls it to the screen, 0-1. Otherwise, it's a couple of strikeouts for Chamberlain, who leads the team with with 89. He is second on the team, as he swings at the 0-1 pitch and grounds it foul to the right side, just off the end of the bat. The strikeout leader is Francisco Hernandez, who has 128 in 82 games this season for Peoria. He's out of the lineup tonight. 0-2 to Chamberlain. Breaking ball just a bit low and away, and it's 1-2. Kallick does have a strikeout. Cade Francisco back in the 8th. 1-2. Slider. Punch towards left, but playable for Eric Cole. Couple of steps to his right, and he's got the grab for out number 2. So Kallick, super efficient out of the bullpen for Quad Cities. It's exactly what they've needed. Kudos to this Bandits arm, who took over for Patrick Smith, who looked pretty solid through his first couple of batters. Got out of a bases-loaded situation in the 6th, but then after allowing a couple of batters with a single and a walk in the 7th, gave up a 3-run homer. That's currently the difference in this one. First pitch to Mason Wynn is low and away for ball 1. The River Bandits starter, Christian Cosby, worked into the 5th inning, finished 4 2/3 and gave up 2 runs. 1-0, grounded over towards short. Garcia has it, high throw, and it lifts Means off the bag, and Wynn is in safely. Man, that's what speed'll do. Garcia once again had to hurry to get that throw off, and he was unable to make an accurate throw. Had Means been able to keep his foot on the base, I think he would have gotten him. It would have been close, but instead well, it looks like it's going to be an error. Yep, so the scorer thinks the same way I do. Garcia picks up the E, and for the Bandits, it's their 91st error as a team this year. For Garcia, his 6th. So it extends the inning for Jordan Walker. That's never a good thing. He sends the first pitch foul down the right side for strike 1. Walker has 4 RBI tonight. The ground out in the 3rd brought in a run, and then the 3-run blast in the 7th. Runner takes off. 0-1, it's low, and Emshoff is unable to handle the ball, trying to take it out of his glove, but would have had no throw anyways, as Wynn had that base easily. 14th stolen bag of the season for him. And it puts a man in scoring position for the Chiefs with 2 outs. They have not scored in back-to-back frames tonight, but it hasn't been too much of a problem. Wynn takes off again as the 1-1 is grounded down the 3rd baseline. Picking it up in fair territory is Kallick, and no one's covering home. Wynn scores a heads-up play from the Peoria shortstop. It's now 6-3. That was a swinging bunt off the 3rd, down the 3rd baseline. Emshoff and Kallick both ran after it, and when Wynn saw that, he said, well, I'll just take home. Nobody's there. So it's an infield hit for Walker. He's got a 5 RBI night, with 2 of those coming on balls he didn't hit out of the infield. So here's John Torres, and the first pitch will have to wait as Kallick picks over to first. Walker dives back. Now, what heads-up base running by Mason Wynn? Credit where it's due. Now the first pitch to Torres is above the belt for ball 1. Torres flew out in the 1st and the 3rd, was hit by a pitch in the 6th, and then doubled against Kallick in the 7th, but did not score. Walker has good speed and a good lead at first. The 1-0. Breaking ball misses away, and it's now 2-0. Well, this is just game one of a 6-game series between these two teams. As I mentioned earlier, Quad Cities will be at home for the remainder of the regular season, with the schedule concluding against South Bend on September 19th. 2-0. Slider swung on and missed. Good cut from Torres, and it's 2-1. Looks like that right-hander in the bullpen for Peoria will pitch the bottom of the 9th inning. Be a save situation if the score were to hold. 2-1 from Calic. Slider popped up on the right side of the field. Massey, the second baseman, goes out and is now called off by Parker Bates, who makes the grab for out number 3. But another run on an RBI single, an infield single from Jordan Walker, and the Chiefs extend their lead to 3. 6-3 heading to the bottom of the 9th. Bandits down to their final outs, looking for a comeback victory to clinch a playoff spot. This is High A Central Baseball here on the River Bandits Baseball Network. Down by 3 runs and down to their final 3 outs. The Quad Cities River Bandits come to the plate in the bottom of the 9th, trailing the Peoria Chiefs 6-3. Jack Ralston will be the new pitcher for Peoria. He is 1-5 with a 3.77 ERA this season. This will be his 25th outing of the year and his 15th out of the bullpen. He's made 10 starts for Peoria this year. He started in that role, but now has been moved to the bullpen and is doing some late inning work. Cale Emshoff leads off the bottom of the 9th and takes a first pitch fastball for a called strike. Emshoff's 1 for 3 with a single back in the second. Hasn't reached since. 0-1. Swung on and tipped in and out of the glove of Pajes. Quickly 0-2. The Bandits loaded the bases against Sean Keeley back in the 8th inning, the only frame he tossed. However, the lefty was able to get out of it unscathed. Out of the windup, Ralston fires, and the 0-2 is a check swing and called strike 3 according to Mitch Treziak, as he says that Emshoff went around. Ralston picks up the strikeout and the first out here in the bottom of the 9th. Well, strikeouts, not something that Ralston is unfamiliar with. In now 60 innings this year, he has 91 strikeouts. Just a ridiculous number. He has issued 32 walks and 39 hits. But he has not given up an earned run over his last 5 1/3 outings. 5 1/3 innings pitched. With 1 out and nobody on, the first pitch to Parker Bates is the fastball. Swung on and missed for strike 1. Bates reached on a fielder's choice in the second. Hasn't reached since. Couple of fly balls. Bandits offense is scuffled tonight, especially in the late innings. 0-1. Fastball outside corner. And it's 0-2. Last time Ralston pitched against the Bandits was over at Dozer Park in Peoria. 5 2/3. Gave up 2 runs in a start on June 10th. 0-2 to Bates. Low and outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. He has not faced the River Bandits in a relief capacity this season. Both of his previous appearances were starts. Of course, Quad Cities hasn't played this team since July, so it makes sense. There wasn't a chance for them to. 1-2 pitch to Bates. Swung on and just tipped off the end of the bat. Bates stays alive as it rolls to the backstop. On the hill, Ralston stands at 6'6", 231 pounds. A 7th round pick by the St. Louis Cardinals back in 2019, and a native of Newhall, California. 1-2. Off the fists, foul. Bates stays alive, sending that up into the sweet level, and will do another 1-2 pitch. Ralston pitched collegiately in the Pac-12 at UCLA. Spent the summer of 2018 in the Cape Cod League. Struggled there, however, with an ERA over 7. He works out of the wind, peers over the glove, now has the sign. 1-2 is lined into right field for a base hit. It gets past Buschberger, and the Bandits get a man on with 1 out in the bottom of the 9th. It's the first hit of the ball game for Parker Bates, and his first here at Modern Woodmen Park. He's got good speed, and the Bandits will look to add even more speed with Michael Garcia coming to the plate. The leadoff man will, of course, be the first Bandits hitter to step to the plate for the 5th time. Right-hander against right-hander is the first pitch, misses low and away for ball 1. Garcia struck out, or excuse me, grounded out in the first, then had an RBI single in the second. Has not reached since, though. Kind of the story of the Bandits offense tonight. 1-0. Fastball right down the middle. And it's 1-1. Ralston began his professional career with State College in the New York Penn League back in 2019. The Cardinals' former low-A affiliate was outstanding there. An ERA of just 1.07 in 25 and a third innings pitched. 1-1 to Garcia is high and outside with a fastball at 93, and it's 2-1. Well, you'd love to extend the inning for Nick Lofton and Michael Massey, who are on deck and in the hole respectively. 2-1. Swung on and missed. Good pitch bearing down and away from Garcia, and it's 2-2. Ralston delivers with big-time, over-the-top arm angle. It's almost like he's playing cricket out there with how much he goes over the top. 2-2. Popped up. This one on the right side in foul territory. The catcher Pajes has an easy read on it, and he'll squeeze the ball for out number 2. So Bandits are down to their final out. Nick Lofton will come to the plate. The DH is 2 for 3 with a couple of singles, a walk, a stolen base, and a run scored. Pretty typical stat line for Nick Lofton, who seems to find a way to produce every night in some way, shape, or form. If not with the bat, then with something in the field. 274 hitter this year, an OPS over 800. First pitch is low and away. It gets away from Pajes, and Bates will advance to second on the wild pitch. First wild pitch thrown by either team in this one. Kudos to Cale Emshoff and the aforementioned Pajes, who have been great defensively tonight. Really, the only thing you can look at for Emshoff was the missed pop-up over in foul territory on the left side, but that was a tough play, so have to take that one with a grain of salt. Man in scoring position for the Bandits with 2 outs. They trail by 3. The 1-0 to Lofton is low. 2-0. Bandits scored 2 runs in the first inning and 1 run in the second. Have not pushed across a tally since. Right-hander against right-hander. Ralston peering in. Lofton waves the bat out in front of him, anticipating the pitch. Ralston pauses. The 2-0. High. 3-0. Well, a walk here would bring the tying run to the plate in Michael Massey. Michael's already got a home run tonight. A 2-run shot back in the first. Most importantly, though, the Bandits need a base runner. Down to their final out and trailing by 3. Ralston, a glance towards second. Now the 3-0 is low for ball 4. Pretty close pitch. Lofton lays off and ends up on base for the 4th time tonight. And the Bandits will now bring the tying run to the plate in Michael Massey. 21 homers on the season for a guy who, right now, if the season were to end today, would finish 3rd on the single-season leaderboards in River Bandits history in slugging percentage at .535. He'd finish tied for 5th with 20 home runs. Well, now he's at 21, so he'd actually be above that. And he would finish 10th in OPS at .887. Michael Massey has been just the keystone to the River Bandits offense this season, especially after the departure of some of the big offensive players like Vinny Pasquantino and Jason Guzman, Jimmy Govern. He has stepped up to the plate, literally and figuratively. Here's the first pitch to him. Tying runs aboard. Ralston comes home, and it's a fastball low, 1-0. Massey, the 2-run homer in the first. Right now, the only extra base hit for Quad Cities. How often can you say that? 1-0 from Ralston. Swung on and missed. Big hack at a fastball towards the letters. And it's 1-1. Second baseman Bushberger playing even between first and second base and back on the grass. Trying to give himself as much time to get to any ground ball on the right side of the infield. Francisco playing no doubles defense down the first base line. 1-1. Driven deep towards right field. This one's down for a base hit. Chasing it into the corner is Torres. 1 run scores. Stopping at third base is Lofton. And the Bandits make it a 2-run ball game on an RBI double from Michael Massey. 26th two-bagger of the year for the Bandits second baseman. And when you need a hit, when does this guy not come through? Lofton gets all the way to third base. The tying run, and Massey stands at second. And now here comes a mound visit from Rick Herrig. It is just unbelievable how this Bandits offense, time and time again, can go from producing nothing to everything with seemingly the flip of a switch. Bandits, as I mentioned during that at-bat, did not have an extra base hit until the double. They have just 3 combined hits since the second inning. And Herrig will bring in the entire infield for this mound visit as they discuss what to do with the tying runs on base in Nick Lofton at third and Michael Massey at second. Nathan Eaton is at the plate now for Quad Cities. He's 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts, a walk, and a stolen base. He has not scored a run. Well over 3 hours in this ball game as we're approaching 10 o'clock Central Time. All right, here we go. 2 outs, tying runs on base. First pitch to Eaton is a called strike. It's a fastball at the knees. As I mentioned earlier, Ralston had not given up an earned run since August 24th against South Bend. First runs he's given up in over 5 innings. Pause at the chest. The 0-1 to Eaton. Fastball just a bit high, and it's 1-1. Eaton trying to extend not only his hitting streak, but the ball game. Bandits trailing 6-4 here in the bottom of the 9th. Eaton represents the winning run at the plate. 2 outs and 2 men in scoring position. Here's the 1-1. Swing and a miss. Big cut from Eaton. Perhaps chased a little bit low there. And now Quad Cities is down to its final strike. Lots of encouragement coming from the fans who have stuck around tonight. Small Tuesday night crowd hoping for a big River Bandits win. Ralston has the sign from Pajes. Pauses on the third base side of the rubber. The 1-2 breaking ball is just a bit high. Oh man, what a fantastic 12-6 curveball out of the hand of Ralston. Completely froze Eaton, but he just missed a little high. We haven't seen that pitch all game, and he broke it out in a 1-2 count, looking for that final K. See what he goes to here now. Deuce is wild. 2 on, 2 out, 2-2 count. Here's the pitch. It's another curveball, and this time it's in the zone for strike 3. Eaton goes down looking, and that's the ball game. So the Bandits will have to wait at least one more day to clinch themselves a playoff spot. They leave the tying runs on base in the bottom of the 9th and get the go-ahead run to the plate. However, they fall 6-4 in Game 1 of their series with the Peoria Chiefs. We'll take our only post-game break of the evening and then come back to wrap things up. The final score from Modern Woodmen Park, Peoria 6, Quad Cities 4.